show in the world. With the face who runs the place, T-Roy. The OG on the marquee, Jaybird. And the cat who runs the chat with the stats, Statman Surge. We are Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're not a Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We're not the Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We are your Quad City Sports Talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the Dawn.
I think it's Wednesday, but hey, we are here in the Hassle Castle. We are brought to you.
Wednesday, ho, hey, Wednesday, ho,
It's a good call.
Wednesday.
We should do it every day on
We
Wednesday.
should. Tomorrow will be Thursday, ho.
Today is Hazel's birthday.
I know, told you guys I don't like it when you call me that.
Oh, no, we weren't doing that at all.
Anyway, happy birthday to my little girl, Hazel Marie.
Aww. She got the same middle name as me.
5 years old today. She's rocking and rolling at school. She got to bring cupcakes and whatnot.
That's the best.
Yeah. So Dad even let her have a cupcake for breakfast. Mom was not impressed.
What? There's eggs in it.
It's a
Come
birthday.
on, you got it, yeah.
Like, come on, Ma. Get off of it.
I actually got up early today and made my kids scrambled eggs, sausage, toast, and cut up some strawberries.
God, can I be your kid?
I know. I didn't eat any of it, though. We didn't have enough for everybody.
Nice work.
I know. I felt like I was adulting very
I'm gonna
well.
have you, I'm going to have you adopt me.
Okay. There's an extra
I
bedroom.
got to break something to you, though.
What's that?
I still might wet the bed.
That's fine. I have one of those plastic bed liners
Oh, perfect.
left over from Cooper. We'll just put that on there.
Okay.
Interesting.
What about breastfeeding? Are you for it or against it?
Never could do that. They never worked right. Sorry.
You sure you don't want me to try to help?
I'm sure.
Can we kind of talk about sports?
Nah.
No, man. The show's going the wrong way right off the bat.
Oh, well,
We have a World Series champion.
we finally have a World Series champion.
I called it.
Yep. Game 6.
The Dodgers.
Without, huh?
The Dodgers.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Obviously,
so
a little bit of
sad.
controversy all over. There's plenty of things to talk about. We've got Big Ten football to talk about. The announcement by the Illinois High School Athletic Association. So there's a lot to talk about, debate, whatnot. But yes, like Game 6 last night was the World Series. And the Dodgers are your World Series champions. First time they've won since 1988.
The Dodgers.
They put an asterisk next to it.
There's no reason to.
Now, what?
There's
okay,
just no
you were
reason to.
explaining this thing to me that happened with
Turner?
Turner.
You want to go there first?
I guess. Because I still don't have my head wrapped around it. You're telling me they knew before the game he was COVID positive?
No, they found out about the 6th inning. Okay? So,
What?
Well,
yeah, so just hear me out. So, in about the 6th inning, the Dodgers were notified that that Justin Turner, the third baseman, I'm sorry, in the 2nd inning, Major League Baseball learned that Turner's Monday sample had tested positive for COVID-19. The league expedited the testing of his Tuesday sample, and when that was also positive, they sent word to the Dodgers. The commissioner's office called Dodgers owner Mark Walter. Walter called president of baseball operations Andrew Friedman. Friedman called Dave Roberts, according to SI's Stephanie Espn.
Ooh.
After the bottom of the 7th, Roberts pulled Turner, who was placed in examination room with his wife Courtney, and was told he was in isolation. Here's the problem. He did not remain in isolation.
Well, okay. Why not?
Because they won.
And he came out to celebrate.
He chose to join his teammates on the field, where he posed for photos, and with the trophy, without a mask on, he sat next to his right was Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, who 10 years ago was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma. To Turner's left was the World Series trophy. There's pictures of him. He did have a mask. He took it off. He'd kiss him with his wife. But he did take the thing off, the mask off, to pose for photos with the commissioner's trophy.
So if he had his mask on, then he's safe, Jay.
Well, who
That's what
cares?
they're telling us.
The thing that's odd is the
People
Dodgers
weren't scared, obviously.
spent the last 3 weeks at a resort in Irving, Texas, about 20 minutes from Globe Life Field. This is where their bubble was. They were supposed to go from hotel to the stadium and back and nowhere else. Security personnel roamed the property to ensure nobody ran afoul of protocols, whether players, coaches, front office staff, or family members who had joined them. Nearly 2 months have passed without a player testing positive. This is all according to ESPN and Jeff Passan.
So it could be a false positive?
No, they did it twice. They expedited the second one.
So how do you get it?
I don't know how he got it.
Yeah, if masks work, he shouldn't have got it.
Well, if isolation were, I mean, honestly, like the bubble thing was working and it worked okay. I mean, what opening day? That's the kind of weird thing. We opened up the season with Juan Soto, the Nationals being scratched right before the start for COVID-19. Now we end it with who seriously is one of the faces of this Dodger team.
Absolutely.
He's a clubhouse leader. He's, so.
I don't see any issue with this. If people were scared of it, they would have said something to him. They were joining him
Probably
too.
the COVID's probably in his dirty beard. I mean, I don't want to see that Game of Thrones.
What do you mean?
You know
He's
what?
got a dirty
The
beard.
CDC just did come out and say that mask wearers actually test positive more often than non-mask wearers. So
It's just not a good look. He shouldn't have come back out. And everyone's like, no one was gonna. His teammates are like, no one was gonna keep him out. No one was going to.
I think it's a great look. He's doing what he wants to do because
It's a sticky situation.
Do what you want.
Either way, congratulations to the Dodgers.
The doggers.
Good for them.
I don't know what the commissioner's gonna do, but he's gonna come down on somebody, on either the Dodgers
has
or
to.
Turner. Oh, he has to. It's
Why?
not
The
a good
season's
look.
over.
They're gonna fine him. Somebody's gonna get fined. You can't turn around and be like, oh, all right, not a big deal.
We'll see it. Yeah, we'll see how big it is. He didn't barely find the Astros. This commissioner's got no teeth. He's got no balls to him, Jay. It's a big giant. I don't even know if I can say that word, so I won't say.
Cotton ball.
There you go.
He's still got. There's got to be a thorn in the paw of the commissioner about Justin Turner, though, because when the whole thing came out, when the commissioner said that remember when he just referred to the trophy as just a piece of metal, when they're like, "Are you going to take away the trophy from the Astros for the banging scheme?" God, what a great name.
I've had a few of those in my lifetime.
Me too.
And he said it's just a piece of metal. It was Turner that said, when people were saying like, "Well, do you think the commissioner's devaluing the trophy?" And Turner said this last year because they were upset, they lost. But he said at this point, the only thing devaluing that trophy is that it says commissioner on it.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, let's see. I guarantee that this commissioner doesn't have enough balls to do anything.
No, not really. I doubt it.
doesn't.
But
He's weak. He's weak. Terrible.
so,
But, Jay,
yes.
this is going to bring up, you're going to do something later on in the show. It's going to be called Worst Manager or
Yeah, we're
Coaching
just gonna go through some of the blunders,
snafus
yes.
of all time.
Because usually
And
I
it
say
brings
this-
up something from the World Series. They pull Snell,
yes.
who was cruising.
He had 9 Ks. I think it was at 73 pitches. It was 5 in the third innings, and only gave up 2 hits.
And what was the score when they pulled him?
The Rays were leading 1-0.
And they pull him. Because
Yes.
why?
He allowed a single on a 73rd pitch of the game, and he was about to face the Dodgers pitcher for the 3rd time. Keep this in mind. Kevin Cash says, we have stuck with this thing all year long. Well, that's not true. It can't be all year. Oh, maybe it was. Maybe it's in other numbers. But they don't like the players to see 3rd time through, which I do understand a little bit. Blake Snell's numbers, a 3rd time through in lineup, it's like a 10-point-something ERA. It's not good. It's like in the bottom 5 of the league. But he was cruising, all right? I mean, he's dealing. At this point, it's funny. Our friend of the show, Jason Anderson, texted me, all right? And he said, Dan Patrick, who just said, like, the analytics just failed. Last night, the analytics failed the Tampa Bay Rays. Remember the conversation that I told you about? You weren't here, but through text message with Tyson Blazer when it came down to the Twins. And I said, I like Rocco, but he's a man of numbers. He's not a man of feeling the game. Mm-hmm. You got to have a feel. And what Anderson said to me on a text was, I don't know. Why don't you ask the catcher how he looks, or ask the players himself instead of just being like, this is what we do. He hasn't pitched to. He was dealing. It is what it is. Like,
Yeah, the catcher knows if your stuff is good or bad.
the other problem is he called on reliever Nick Anderson,
I thought he played basketball.
who entered having allowed a run in 6 straight relief appearances. So the numbers don't add up for Kevin Cash.
So
Do
they
you know
bring
what I'm
in a guy that's been getting rocked.
Yes. And after he exited, he extended his now major league record streak to 7 runs in 7 straight appearances. Then he was down 2-1. I just hate over managing. I hate the idea of what we're getting at is the clubhouse loves him. That's all they are. Like you're basically the clubhouse DJ after a win. That what we're getting to managing. What I've said before and what I said about Rocco is that the numbers, the analytics, the money ball, when it comes down from above, well, this is what the numbers say. Do it this way. So you're micromanaged and you become the clubhouse DJ.
It's politics.
It's not even a DJ.
It always is.
You become the clubhouse jukebox, Jay.
Aw.
Because all they got to do is type in D5 and they're playing Billy Squires' The Stroke. Next song, remember, after Billy Squire, everybody's really pumped up. Yeah. They're going to want another pump up song. Hey, I know what we're going to do. We're going to play AC/DC Back in Black. Boom, boom.
Ew.
All right. Numbers say after two heavy songs like that, got to play a soft song for Jay Foster so he can grab the butt, do a little slow dancing. We're going to play Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home, song 3. All you are is a jukebox.
You're not lying. That's
Plug it in the numbers. Here you go, jukebox manager. You don't even need you. Why even pay him?
Well, you know I'm a dreamer.
You're not the only one.
My heart's of gold.
It's hearts of gold. You got to run away high so you didn't come home low.
That's right. You know me. You know me well. Anyway, that's the type of thing that it just drives me a little crazy. So the Dodgers are your World Series champions. Rightfully
And we
so.
thought Dave Roberts was the guy who was going to screw this thing up.
I really did. And you know what? He still found a way by letting Justin Turner back on the field.
What do you mean let? He's a grown man.
He already
if he
won
wants
the
to
game.
get out there, he's
At
going
that
to
point,
get
he's already
out
won the
there.
game.
I mean, how everybody's supposed to be so micromanaged to death.
They didn't strip the title from the Astros for what they did. So the Dodgers are good.
Your MVP for the World Series is Corey Seager. He was 8 for 20 with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 7 runs scored. Argument could have been for Clayton Kershaw, and it would have been a nice little nod to his career. He was 2-0 in the World Series with a 2.31 ERA, 14 Ks. Either way, I don't care. Mookie Betts had a great World Series. He joins Lenny Dykstra and Lou Brock as the only players with 4 stolen bases and multiple home runs in a World Series.
Ew.
He's legit.
He might be pretty
Since
good,
2015, every World Series champion, except for the 2018 Red Sox, snapped a decade-long drought. Decades. The Royals in 2015 had 29 years. The Cubs had 107 in 2016. The Astros had 54 years. The 2019 Nationals, we're going to throw in the Expos, had 49 years. And now the Dodgers went 31 years. Which leads me to a question before we go to break. And I want you to think about this, okay? And everybody out there listening on ESPN 1170 AM and also on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread.
Okay.
Here's your World Series trivia.
Yes, sir.
The Dodgers broke a 31-year World Series drought, which was shockingly just the 10th longest in the major leagues. Who are the top 9?
Cubs.
All right.
They're not on because they won it in 2016.
All right.
Hold on.
Bring me
I
that
thought
question again. I want to
bring
hear
you the
this.
question
I want to
again.
hear this exactly how it's
Okay.
worded.
And then I have a question as well.
The Dodgers broke a 31-year World Series drought, 1988 to now,
Okay.
which was just the 10th longest in Major League Baseball.
Okay. Question.
Hold on. Okay, go. And then, yeah.
Is it the longest drought, like in general, or until now?
Until now.
Okay, so
They're
anybody
right-
that's won.
I can tell you right now, I'll give you a couple things. It's 34 to 72 years.
Okay.
There are 5 in the American League and 4 in the National League.
All right.
Okay.
You ready?
When we come back from break.
Oh!
So you can write it down when you're doing all, you can write it down, but it's for the listeners out there as well. So the Dodgers broke a 31-year World Series drought. It was just the 10th longest in Major League Baseball. Who are the top 9? So obviously when I say 31, that's why 34 to 72 years is where they're at. 5 in the American League, 4 in the National League. Your answers when we come back from break.
Front Street Brewery is the oldest brew pub in the state of Iowa. It is nestled beautifully along the bank of the mighty Mississippi. It has served the fine community of Davenport since 1992. Let me tell you about the awesome beers that they have on tap. They have the Davenport Gold. It's a satisfying American ale. The Wise Guy. It's an instantly recognizable German wheat. The Raging River, an English-inspired American Indian Pale Ale. And the, what is it, Troy? The Cherry
Bomb Blonde.
That's our favorite right there. Go to check out their Facebook page for food and drink specials. Also visit their webpage at www.frontstreetbrew.com.
You like that? You like that? Woo!
Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah. This is Coach A.C. Earl. Don't hassle us, we're local.
Gary Moore is delivering real solutions for Iowa families. Thanks to Gary Moore's leadership, Iowa has a balanced budget, which is why we were better prepared than any other state to deal with the economic impacts of the COVID crisis. Gary Moore led the effort to help working Iowa families find safe, reliable childcare so parents can continue to work. Gary Moore is focused on getting Iowans back to work and school safely. Keep Iowa moving in the right direction. Vote Gary Moore for state representative.
Paid for by Gary Moore for State House.
I'm Kyle Montgomery with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. With the NFL trade deadline looming, the Cowboys decided to get to dealing early in Big D. Dallas traded four-time Pro Bowl defensive end Everson Griffin to the Lions Tuesday for a conditional late-round draft pick. A former Cowboy found a new home on Tuesday. Des Bryant was added to the Ravens practice squad. The ex-All-Pro wideout hasn't played an NFL game since 2017, but did work out with Baltimore over the summer. Antonio Brown made it official on Tuesday, signing his one-year deal with the Bucs. AB is on league suspension through this week, but could make his debut in Tampa in Week 9. Speaking of Bucs receivers, they won't have Pro Bowler Chris Godwin Monday night against the Giants. He fractured a finger in Sunday's win over Vegas. He could be back Week 9. And a pair of former first-round draft picks on the move Tuesday. The Panthers released corner Eli Apple, while the Giants added receiver Corey Coleman to their practice squad. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
NFL fans, go to NFLshop.com and get your favorite player's jersey, name, and number t-shirt or collectible. Are you ready for the next game? Shop now for the most up-to-date assortment for all 32 teams, including face coverings. NFL Shop has game day covered with jerseys, apparel, and at-home essentials for cheering on your team. You'll choose from the largest assortment for all 32 teams, as NFL Shop is the destination for officially licensed NFL gear. Head to NFLshop.com today for your special offer.
Back to work at that job? The one you realized isn't for you? Well, that's if you're lucky, right? Make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
At Crawford Company, we specialize in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. Sports, on the other hand...
Hey, Crawford guy, go long!
No, I can't!
Here comes the pitch to Crawford guy. Strike three.
Come on, Crawford guy, take the shot!
Sports may not be our specialty, but home comfort is. Crawford Company, plumbing and drain cleaning, heating and air conditioning.
Has your business's growth slowed this year? If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. But maybe you're unaware of new tools that can help your business stand out among the competition in the Quad Cities. Go to townsquarequadcities.com now for a free market competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses and competitors in our area are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too. There's no cost and no obligation. Plus, be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising right here on ESPN 1170. Just call 563-202-2230 or visit townsquarequadcities.com. This could be the boost for your business you've been waiting for. Get started today. Call 563-202-2230 or visit townsquarequadcities.com for your free market competitive analysis. That's 563-202-2230 or visit townsquarequadcities.com.
I've seen the worst things that can possibly happen. This isn't even close to that.
He's back on your radio. Greeny.
I have always felt basketball is a game where the team that has the best player wins. The Lakers would have the two best players.
Greeny, covering the top stories with the biggest names. Plus, breaking news.
Only in football do we wonder this aloud, and I just thought it was worth spelling out all of the ways in which Brady changed everything.
Greeny. Weekdays at 11 on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170. Drive around all day with the latest sports talk in your car on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up. Before I have to pull the strap.
All right, everybody, we are back here in the Hassle Castle. We got Leah Baum in the house, Jay Diggity Dog, and T Rizzle.
We didn't even tell the announcement that our buddy Craig is coming back in the second hour.
Oh, that's right. What time is Craig getting here?
He'll be here about 1 o'clock in about 40 minutes. He's got a show
Craig
tomorrow.
Gass, you're going to love him, Leah.
I'm excited.
He's
Jay
got a
said
show
that.
tomorrow, 2 shows at Rhythm City Casino.
He's famous, more famous than Davy Crockett.
He's pretty famous.
You said he was on what show?
He was on Sex and the City.
Sex
he was on
and
the
the
King of
City.
the Queens. We have to ask him.
Talk to him about Leah Remini.
Dude.
Is he? Okay, so
that is
we don't
my,
have
that
enough
is my
time with him
crush,
either.
dude. Leah Remini.
Yeah. So he was
Remini?
on Sex and the City. He was on
After
King
she
of
was
Queens.
a Scientologist, correct?
No, that's what we're going to ask him.
When she gets out of it. But no, I mean,
Yeah.
Leah Remini is H-O-T-T hot.
She's a little rough
He
on the
does
edges
voices
for, me, but I agree,
American
she's hot.
Dad.
He lives here?
No.
Okay.
The Cleveland Show and and Family Guy. He does voices there. He can do
He
like
can do your
impersonation.
voice, Leah.
So let me give you the background, and I'll tell
Watch.
everyone else because he's not going to want to tell the story again. He learned how to talk from television. Both his parents and his sister are deaf. So that's how he learned how to do the voices because he's from the Bronx, does not have a Brooklyn accent because he just wasn't around it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His family didn't talk like he says. Everyone, and when he does Tracy Morgan, it's pretty legit. He's like they all sound like in the Bronx. Everyone sounds like Tracy Morgan, but he learned just to imitate voices.
His sister told him the funniest joke I've ever heard. She's deaf.
Yeah.
What was this joke?
She goes, "You want to hear a
She
funny
signed
joke?"
it,
She
yeah.
signs it to him. "You want to hear a funny joke?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah." She goes, "So would I."
One,
crazy?
the couple things. One,
Great
he's a
sense of humor.
comedian. It's great, and two,
Yeah.
she's deaf. So it works on both
I love
levels.
it.
Like,
I like
her
her
brother's
already.
not funny enough for her. So
I want to be her friend.
So he's going to be in the second hour. He's got tons of stories, and we didn't even get close to like finishing anything about Gene Simmons or what T. Roy's going to ask about. What's her name again? Leah Remini?
Leah Remini.
Remini, yeah. Why you gotta make fun of my hat, Easy Race?
All right, before we went to
Eat her
break,
liver
I
some
asked you a
fava
question.
beans.
A World Series question.
Yes,
The Dodgers.
I think I have it down.
I didn't even try.
The Dodgers won the World Series after 31 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was the 10th longest streak. What are the top 9? 5 in the American League, 4 in the National League. These years range from 34 to 72 years.
I have them down, Jay.
You think you have all 9?
I have them all 9. I have all 9, and I'm 100% confident that I will not mess this up.
Hold on a second. Don't now. I feel really excited. Now I got to get.
You do?
What,
Can
no.
you get do we have music? I love it when we get music. It's like we have a professional radio show.
Kinda, yeah.
I believe in you.
See how I lock things down when I think maybe Craig's driving into the studio?
Yeah. See, we got somebody
Because he's
famous coming to
listening.
be with us. Yeah, look how good we are,
Yeah,
radio.
he's listening. He's like, oh, I'm really going into a show.
We're so organized.
All right. What is what do you have?
I'm going to start out with the American League, Jay Bird.
Okay.
And I think this is the longest of all said streaks. It is the Cleveland Indians.
Bingo. That is your 72 years.
Wow. It's almost as bad as 108.
It's getting up there. Another one in there.
Uh-huh.
The Seattle Mariners.
Yes, 44 years. That's 2. Good.
Another one in there. The Texas Rangers.
At 60 years, the Texas Rangers make the list as the second longest streak. Yep.
I might have messed this one up. Ooh, now I'm not. Now I'm second guessing myself. Dadgummit.
Okay. You've got
I might
6 more
have
to
to
go.
come back onto this other one. All right, for sure.
Uh-huh.
The Detroit Tigers.
They have not won it since 1984. That's 36 years. Good job.
Okay, and I wrote this team down, and then I did remember that they won it 30 years ago. So now I got to forget that. Hold on. Let me rethink real quick.
Oh, are you thinking of the Cincinnati Reds?
No.
Well, they won it in 1990.
They did?
Yeah.
I think this is right.
You think that was right?
Mm-hmm.
But didn't they... Man, Jay.
Yeah,
I'm going to be really upset if I got this one wrong.
You got 6 more to go.
All right, let me come back to the American League one.
Okay.
I have one more left in the American League. I'm going to come back. All right, in the National League.
Yes.
The San Diego Padres.
Absolutely. 52 years.
Okay. And then the National League.
Mm-hmm.
The Philadelphia Phillies.
No. You're forgetting.
What?
You're forgetting about 2008. They beat the Rays in 5 games in 2008. The last time the Rays made the World Series was in 2008. They lost to Philadelphia Phillies. Jimmy Rollins was the MVP.
All right, New York Mets.
New York Mets at 34 years.
I'm upset with myself.
No, wait, I didn't get to do this. Hold on. Professional. I got to do
I'm getting.
It's only one, though.
But I get 3 strikes.
You get 3 strikes, yeah. You get 3 strikes.
Okay. The National League as well, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Absolutely, at 52 years.
I knew that one.
All right. Now I have to really put my thinking cap on.
It's almost obvious, pal.
It's almost obvious.
Almost.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think when the last time they won it.
Well, you've got some guesses.
I do got some guesses. All right, so I missed. I got 2 more guesses. Man, you're really hurting my feelings right now.
No pressure.
So I'm going through all these things. All right. It has to be the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Absolutely correct. At 41 years, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And there's one left.
There's one.
That's your American League team.
There's one left.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I think I had it wrong to start with, and I'm going to cross that off. It is the Baltimore Orioles.
It is the Baltimore Orioles. Very good job. That is not an easy list to do.
But I have to thank the boss.
Did he? Yeah.
Because I did have someone wrong.
Again, the man who sends a list of things not to do while we have a show.
Hey, I didn't
The
pick up my
Brewers
phone.
have never won the World
No,
Series.
but the man who says, "Hey guys,
I didn't know that.
Here's how to lock things down."
I originally had Oakland down because I wasn't
Stay
thinking
off
about
your phone, and he's texting you.
Oakland won it in '89.
Oakland won
That's
it in
only
'89.
31 years. Yes.
Yeah, they beat the Giants.
And now
in
he just yelled at me for looking at my phone. Thanks a lot, dude.
I got you in trouble. You
got me in trouble with the boss?
By me and
yes.
Dave. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I can't believe I forgot about the Phillies winning it in the.
Yeah, 2008.
God dang it.
Yeah. Good job by Major League Baseball. The World Series, there is no asterisk on this at all, I don't believe. And it goes back to our friend AC Earl, who said, everyone's going through it type of thing. So there's no way it should be an asterisk to it. Real quick, in your COVID news.
Ugh.
My COVID news.
Because, there's not a day that goes by that we can't, but this is a big deal. Wisconsin cancels a football game against Nebraska after an outbreak of COVID-19 cases. We had already found out yesterday that Graham Mertz, the quarterback for the Badgers, had his second confirmed test, and he would be out a minimum of 21 days because the Big Ten makes it 21 days when you have 2 tests. I don't know really what's going to happen after this, but 6 people on staff and 6 players within the last 7 days have been COVID positive for Wisconsin. So, they just canceled the game.
Oh, all right. Bye.
It's not a good thing, though.
No, it's not.
Wisconsin was on their 4th string quarterback because Chase Wolf, their 3rd string quarterback, also tested positive. So, I'm calling a little about a BS on this whole thing. Wisconsin doesn't want to take a loss because they want to win the West. I'm sorry. This is the type of thing where you're all getting...
All right.
I am. I'm sorry.
If you can't field a team on the day the game's supposed to be played, then that's a forfeit. You lose.
That's not the way it works, though.
It's not?
Nope. The Big Ten requires teams to play at least 6 games to qualify for the division championship, unless the average number of games by all league teams drops below 6. So no, they just it's a no decision. Illinois has yet to hear any type of positive test because Illinois played Wisconsin on Friday. But no, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you that you can't field a team or you're worried to get beat. Hey, this is on you. This is on you, and you know the rules, you know the protocol, you know everything else.
So let's just throw this out there. I mean, let's just say hypothetically, Iowa has this 1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
Come into the year, we still only have 1 loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Wisconsin has 2.
I don't know what they're going to do. They have to play at least 6 games to qualify for the Big Ten
That's
championship.
What I'm saying. So they have to play us to qualify for the championship, and let's just say they're still undefeated, right?
They can't miss another.
Follow me.
They can't miss 2. They can't miss 2 more games.
Right, but you're following my logic here. Iowa has 1 loss. We win out.
Okay, done.
Okay, we win out until the last game where we're playing Wisconsin. So we are now 6-1. We are in first in the West. You know what we do then? Hey, can't play, man. We got a bunch of positives.
No, because now it's 21 days.
Win by default.
None of it works like that way by 21 days.
Oh.
Not if you have 2 tests. The Big Ten saying you have to say. Big Ten policy requires any player who test positive for COVID-19 to miss at least 21 days and undergo cardiac screening before being cleared to return. Safe before sorry is the Big Ten's motto. But this is the problem that we've been saying from the very beginning. There is no room for error. There are no off days. There's no bye weeks. They could have easily bubbled this. Easily. And they didn't.
Could have easily booblayed this.
Zach, Z-Bar, don't be telling me what we are and what we aren't.
What do you mean?
He's on the T-Ray texter trying to tell me that we're definitely losing more than one game.
Oh, well, it's possible. But
well, yeah, you're just butting it right now with that.
So, and including, I'm sorry, I didn't even mention that their head coach, Paul Chris, was tested positive as well.
So he gave it to all the guys.
Yeah, what was he doing?
Is he a married fella?
I don't know.
Is the head coach a married fella?
I don't
Leah,
know.
can you Google that on your smartphone?
Thing I know is
is the head coach of Wisconsin, what's his name, Paul Chris?
Yeah, he looks like
C-R-I-S-S, like Roots
he
Chris?
looks like Mr. Rink from Curious George cartoons. Is what he looks
C-R-I-S-S. Who's Paul
No,
married
it's
to?
C-R-Y-S-T.
Is he married?
I'm looking.
Don't start thinking that he's doing some weird things or whatever else.
He was, dude.
Going to the Milwaukee casino like Paul DeJong.
Out trying to get his pickle wet.
No,
is what he was doing.
He is married with 3 children.
Well, then it was his little kids were out there licking boogers.
Maybe.
Katie, JoJo, and Danny.
I don't know. I love that you just figured that out.
I love it when we get around to
Is Wisconsin open? Their schools?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know the states like you guys do. Like, what's a red state? What's a blue state? I don't know.
They're a purple state.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure their schools are open.
So I don't know what's going to happen with these 21 days and everybody else. They're going to.
Well,
I'm telling you right now, Wisconsin's finding a way to play the games. They're not.
Well, how many players do they got now? That's 21 days.
6 on staff, 6 players have it.
Okay.
But it's 21 days, and then they're all within the last 7 days. So obviously, one could have tested positive on Friday before their game, or Thursday before the game, so that they're back.
So they played one game. They're
going to
definitely
miss
missing
2 games, and then they're going to be back. I'm so annoyed by this.
So they have to play the rest of their games.
Yeah, they have to play at least 6. They can miss 2
more.
games, yes. They can miss this one and the next one because it's an 8-game schedule.
So Nebraska and who in their schedule? Do you know?
I can pull it up for you. Give me a second. I'm sure Bomber could figure that out too. She's real fast.
I had it written down. I had the Big Ten schedule at one point.
Well, no. It was actually Kaker sent it out yesterday on Twitter about who they were missing, who they're going to get. I think one of them is Northwestern.
What do you want to know?
Who is Wisconsin supposed to play the week after this? They had Nebraska.
Illinois. Oh, no.
Nebraska, Illinois. No.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad. It just popped up. What week is this? 10?
No, that's in the NFL. No, it's week.
I'm not in. I'm in NCAA.
No, it's all messed up.
No idea.
I'll find it in a second.
It would have been the week after this.
Okay, here we go. Wisconsin's playing. That's what you want to know?
Yeah.
Wisconsin is playing Purdue.
So week 2 would be Purdue?
Week 3.
November 7th.
Week 3, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
November 7th, 2:30 p.m.
Okay, so that's what it would be. Huh. So, but they're not going to miss any other after that, though. They're just not going to, which is annoying as all heck.
The game after that is Michigan.
And not in the West.
Yeah,
doesn't have anything to do with the West.
They're going to lose that game. Is it at Michigan? It doesn't matter. I think Michigan is going to crank on them.
Well, yeah. Michigan.
Yeah, Nebraska, Purdue, and Michigan. Those are the 3, but they have to play those games.
You can't come in and play Michigan after having 2 weeks off and thinking that you're going to be sharp. I mean, they can't even practice when they're having all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm getting at? They're going to get stomped.
Stomped.
Stomp a mud hole in that butt. Bah!
Curbity stompity.
I don't know, Bird. Doesn't look good for whiskey.
They're going to end up playing those games.
They'll play them, but they're going to lose. They'll lose to Michigan, then it's over. I mean, this is all good for Iowa.
They could end up
this
still having
a
better winning percentage. As long as they play 6 games, they could have a better winning percentage. It's not about who has the most wins.
They're going to lose to Michigan. And then
we already looked at that with the MLB when they were like, oh, they didn't care about the Cardinals. They were just like, oh, you don't have to make up those games. We can just care about who's in, who's not.
All right.
You don't think the Big Ten would rather have Wisconsin in there than Iowa?
Say how you said it again.
Wisconsin?
Yeah. Why? The Big Ten doesn't care.
Other news, COVID related and sports related.
Can we not be COVID anymore? I'm over.
Sportscaster and a parent. Saturday I had a glorious day covering the cross country and swimming state tournament. It was great to see these kids competing, seeing their hard work pay off, seeing their individual best times, seeing their reaction, their proud moments of success. I love the classroom of high school sports. I sure hope my kids get to take part this school year. You know, my wife and I had to make a decision. We had to look at the COVID numbers and decide, should our kids go to school or should we opt out and do remote learning? We chose to send our kids to school. We had to decide, should our kids go through these contact days and scrimmages in sports? We decided we wanted the rewards of sports. They outweighed the risk. We as parents made the decision. We want our kids to play sports. I understand, Governor Pritzker, that your daughter is terrific at equestrian. You've allowed her to continue competing. I think that's great. How about letting us parents have the same decision? How about letting our kids play, and how about letting the parents decide?
He's not wrong.
He's
not wrong at all.
Not wrong at all.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah,
Give
Jim
us
Mattson.
the right to protect our... This is the thing.
Sports
our
director.
health is our responsibility. It's not the government. The government doesn't have a right to tell us what to do about our health.
I don't want the government being
They don't have a right
charged
to tell
to
us
tell me what to do about
anything. Anything.
The dumbest people on earth are in the government.
I appreciate him taking the time
the
to talk about his kids, talk about sports, how he likes to cover high school sports. Again, it's Jim Mattson. And then turn around and then say, like, kind of just point and be like, I understand, Governor, she's really good. He's just saying she's very talented at what she does, and you've allowed her to do it.
But do you know that Pritzker takes his daughter to Wisconsin to compete because he doesn't want to get caught competing in the state that
I don't
he
care where
governs?
he takes him.
I don't care.
You're missing the point. The point is, do as I say and not as I do, is what he's trying to convince the people that he thinks he rules over.
Well, my point is, I don't want anybody from the government trying to tell me. There's still
They should have no say in your health.
There's still some
None.
congressman in Georgia that thinks that the island is going to tip over if they put too many Army guys on one side. I mean, that's how dumb they are. This is how stupid people that get elected.
Isn't it great when you become an adult and you start to get into politics a little bit? And then
it's not great.
No, I'm
It
not
pisses you
done.
off.
Let me finish. And then you realize that these people in politics that you thought were the almighty and the most intelligent are just not.
No, it's not cool.
They're.
I tried to say that before you finished. It's not cool. It
It is.
sucks. It scares the hell out of me. Some of the dumbest people I see get on TV and they can't articulate a sentence that makes any amount of sense to me.
Or they say they're running for senator.
I mean, they're in office
they're
and
running
they
for
just
POTUS.
babble, and you don't know what they're saying. A ton of them.
I mean, yeah, it's depressing at the same time, but it's like, wow. The thing that the biggest.
Those are the people that make our laws, Leah. That's terrifying.
It is terrible. Well, we make the laws. We actually vote on them, but yes, half of us are as dumb as those people. So that's what's scary. I'm more worried about society being dumb than the people.
Leah, you're gonna have to hold my hand.
I will.
Here's the things I don't understand.
Is that a booger?
Yes, of course.
I thought on my hand.
I've lived here a good, I'd say, 37 years out of my life.
Okay.
Are we separated by the river? Of course we are. All right. Some people from Illinois don't come to Iowa. Some people from Iowa don't go to Illinois. All right. Period. It's fine. But a thing that is a global pandemic, this doesn't make sense to me. When I get an email today, it's saying like, the Bednauf Wrestling Club is starting next Monday. And I'm like, how? Or, sorry, I have the University of Iowa medical doctor who's in charge of all sports talking to Kakert, and this is before the testing thing. So this is like right away when the Big Ten stopped football. It's not like, oh, our testing got better, okay? And I said, well, what's going to happen with basketball and wrestling? And Kakert goes, he actually says wrestling's okay because the four of them, they're usually in a group of four. And I was like, No. Just because you weigh 125 pounds or 133 in that room doesn't make a difference. Do you know how much you have to clean a wrestling room? Mm-hmm. You have to clean a wrestling room before and after practice. Before and after.
All right. Yeah. Ringworm.
There's so many diseases.
Viruses,
and
no less.
And they're sitting there saying, and they're like, no, wrestling's going to be fine. Now, which again, I'll make the choice if my son will wrestle or not. But now across the river of a global pandemic, they're saying these things can't happen. But in Iowa, they can. That's where my frustration is. And I know where your head's at, Bomber, and I know it's going to be political and we're the state or whatever else. But these things don't make sense.
None of it does. And that's how you know it's political. If it's not scientific, it's not about your health. What else is left for it to be? It is political. It's 150% political, and I'm tired of it.
Uh-oh, she's hitting the table, everyone. I'm
over it. Like, people are waking up, and I'm seeing some of my very, very science believer people waking up going, Okay, I'm starting to think this
Help
is political.
me.
My daughter cried on her Google Meet with her teacher the other day because she's so sad because she wants to go to school. This is a 10-year-old. She's depressed. They do these quizzes and how are you feeling? And I do everything I can to make her, I help her with the work and I do everything I can. But I'm not 10 years old. I'm not her peer. I'm her parent. So she's struggling. And I can only imagine other kids who are struggling even more because they don't have parents home as much as I am. They don't have, both parents interacting with them as much. It's depressing. Suicide's up 30%. I'm over it. It's over. It needs to end.
I love what you said there because it reminds me of something that came about 4 weeks ago. Let's see, I have it in front of me because what a weirdo I am. Yeah, 4 weeks ago, and our friend Barb from the Quad City Times, and she got really upset in this article, and that it was an argument over sports, and someone saying our kids need it, and she's like, do you need it? She's like, is it really a need? And she went on to write about it, and you know what? Maybe they do. Maybe that's a way for them to...
We're social creatures.
Yeah.
Especially as children.
Here it is. She brought up something about this. One day, she writes, and this is Barb Ike's Quad City Times. She writes, one day on Facebook, a woman claiming to be a nurse. What do you need to throw in claiming to be?
Of course they have to do that. They have to
she claims to be a reporter.
Yeah. Nurse declared that testing for COVID-19 should stop.
They have to discredit her somehow.
Ignorance, as she went on to demonstrate, is bliss. She said her children need to play sports. When I pointed out the need to play sports led to the closure of North Scott High School, she wrote, I bet if you asked the parents and kids of North Scott, the vast majority of them would not change a thing because they got the opportunity for some sense of normalcy. And then she went on to write, the narrow-mindedness of such remarks is nearly as appalling as the selfishness. What is normal about shutting down an entire school because athletes got sick? Why does your desire, not need, to watch your children swing a bat or kick a ball trump other parents' desire to protect their children and themselves from a highly contagious disease?
It's not a disease, it's a virus, number one.
Okay.
Number two, a virus has to run its course. Number three, you cannot hide from a virus. There is no hiding from a virus. It is impossible. So no matter what these states are doing to shut down, lockdown, peaks, testing, blah, blah, it's not going away. Ever.
Barb have kids?
Flu.
Does Barb have kids?
I do not believe so. I believe she has nieces and nephews.
Okay.
That says it all, doesn't it?
If I was Barb, I'd just shut the hell up.
Yeah, I think so, too.
She doesn't know.
I've had 4 weeks. This article that she wrote bothers me probably every other day that she wrote.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing. And I will tell you, I'll be the first, if I were to shake hands with her, to be like, I respect you. I respect you as a journalist. I
don't.
But I think
she's not writing about anything she knows about.
She has done more to try to divide this community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than probably any other journalist.
So that's not journalism. That's not journalism.
Let me throw this at you guys. Here Barb's trying to say because a parent made the choice that they wanted their kids to play sports, that it took away from another parent's choice. They wanted to keep their children away from the virus.
Yes.
Okay.
I know where you're going.
Where does it say that the parent that didn't want their kid to be there
can't keep them out?
Still had to send their kid.
Exactly.
North Scott was 100% in person. That's the only thing I can tell you.
But you still have the choice. You still have the choice.
You still have the choice as a parent.
Yes. I chose for my kids to be 100%
remote. You still have
remote.
the choice as a parent.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is the virtue signaling that's going on right now because they're saying, well, I choose to send my kids to school. Well, you're hurting my kids.
All the choices we have here in the Quad Cities.
It's the propaganda and the brainwashing going on with all the media. And if you send your kid to school, you're putting my kid at risk. Then don't send your kid to school.
I respect whatever your choice is. Leah, if you choose that you wanted to send your child, go for it. Jay, if you worried that Beef shouldn't wrestle, don't let him wrestle. Whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's wrestling. He just told me he doesn't want to because it's just too early in the morning for him.
But what I'm at is, I agree with Leah 100% that this is going to be very detrimental to the mental health
their psyche
of a lot of children.
I'm watching my daughter.
I mean, it's
wilt
going to be terrible
over time.
Jay.
Literally, her personality is fading. Her joy and her zest for life is slowly fading away. And there's nothing I can do to stop it because I can't open the schools back up. I can't reintroduce sports.
You can't even really send her to a place to play with other kids because
I can't.
The Gestapo is going to stop
None of
you
it,
from
but
doing
again, going back to not making sense, when AC's telling me that they have basketball tournaments up in Lombard, Illinois, when I'm going to softball.
We got somebody calling.
I got softball tournaments. People telling me that they're coming in from Illinois. All right, ready?
Welcome to Don't Hassle Us Local. Who do we have on the line?
Hey, Troy, this is Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, I really like to keep my nose out of this business, but listening to you guys on the radio, my wife is a mental health therapist.
Right.
And just to add a little bit of numbers to everything, do you know the last 2 weeks there was more suicide deaths than COVID deaths?
Yes.
COVID deaths.
I did know that, Adam.
I did not know that, and that's... that is just heartbreaking.
Yes.
Cry on the air.
One, it's heartbreaking to me.
And Adam, suicides, now correct me if I'm wrong, aren't suicides up 30% in the United States right now? Since the lockdowns. 38%.
Adam,
Thank you.
Let me ask you real quick. When you say that there was more deaths to suicides to COVID, is that just here in Scott County, or was that just nationwide?
That's nationwide.
Wow.
Thank you, Adam. I knew that. This is the stuff that we're dealing with.
My kids go to North Scott, and they're 100% in safe learning, but they also did give the parents the option to keep them at home.
Thanks, Adam. Yep.
Which I think was great. So, I mean, I got 3 boys, and if my boys want to play, they're going to play. I'm not going to stop them from doing what they want to do, because I'd hate to see them lose something that I had as a grade schooler, and learning the techniques and learning sportsmanship like that just because of living in fear.
And they don't get this time back. You don't get your childhood back.
No.
Well, no. Adam, let me ask you one question. So when you said that they gave the parents the choice, because I'm trying to be critical of Barb's article here. So they gave you guys a choice. So if you chose not to send your children, then they had something in place for you to still be able to teach your child?
Yes. So I get emails every week, every Friday.
Yep.
And they give us the option. Actually, they just sent it out the other day because trimester, whatever you want to call it, is going to be over here pretty soon. If you would still like to put your kid to face-to-face, they're allowing us to do that. But if you'd like to pull yours out, they're allowing you to do that. They still give us the choice throughout the year to change our mind.
Well, to me, that's the only way to do it. Thank God there's a district somewhere that has their head on right. I mean, seriously. And one, brother, that is so sad to hear the news on that.
Thank you for reiterating that, though.
But we appreciate your call, man, and always love it when you're able to make that call into us, man.
Yeah. The mental health is a big deal in our house, and I wish it was a bigger deal. I wish it was a bigger deal around the world, because I think there's a lot of things you could cure by just listening and paying attention to stuff like that.
Yeah,
but anyway,
absolutely.
Great show, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's heartbreaking, and I don't think the only other time, there's been a few handful of times where I feel like I know I've almost lost it on the air, and I think it was one time in March, and I remember you guys were there, and I was like, I can't handle this. That one, that crushed me. That seriously just crushed me, because you guys know my story about COVID and everything else. And when I had it, and I was asymptomatic, but the depression that I felt, and I still say it lingers on me now. Just last week, we just saw each other, and you go, "Are you doing okay, brother?" And I go, "I feel like I have the COVID." So, and you're like, "What does that mean?" And I said, "I just have this fog. I have this depression. Sometimes I lack motivation. And I don't know if there is a lingering effect over this thing of what it is for me or whatever else." And that
I think it's a combination of everything.
It's funny you bring that up, because there was a point maybe earlier in this week, probably earlier in this week, or maybe last week, whatever it was. But it was just a point where, it had gotten cold or whatever else. And I was telling somebody, I'm like, I usually don't suffer any sort of seasonal depression or get too up or down. I'm pretty,
consistent.
I'm pretty consistent. I like to party pretty hard, but
be mean to Bomber, right?
No, well, yeah, that gets a given. But what I'm saying is, like I'm usually a pretty upbeat person for the most part, and I'm like, all of a sudden I was just like, and Amy and I travel as much as we can. Sometimes we take the kids, sometimes we don't, but we've been in the situation where we haven't been able to do some of the things we normally like to do. Right. What I quote unquote call getting the F out of Dodge. Which is necessary for mental health. breaking the, I like to get away from what the norm is every now and then.
Get away from the monotony.
Let's go do something fun. Let's forget about, I have to count this today or tell someone I need, who cares? Just go and get away. Right. Escape from pressures of everyday life. Mm-hmm. And I feel I haven't been able to do that. And all of a sudden I was just like, man, Cowboys suck.
Iowa lost.
Iowa lost. Like, good God,
heads are
what do
falling
I
off.
got? What do I got to look forward to right now? And there was something in my head. I'm like, I don't think, and we have a trip planned for Mexico, but we're not 100% sure we're going to be able to do it.
Now, not to discount everything you're going through, and everybody's going through it.
Yeah.
But I know people who have lost their businesses that they've owned for 35 years. I know,
Right.
I know people who are losing their homes that they've owned and paid on for 30 years. I know friends who are unemployed and have had to move back in with their parents, and they've had to lose their condos or their apartments or their houses. My daughter, I'm putting her in counseling right now. Because I don't want I don't want this to affect her long term.
Well, is this, and you're referring to probably friends that live on the Illinois side.
Mostly, but all over the world. I have friends that live in Jersey that are suffering even more than Illinois because their governor is even more detrimental as far as lockdowns. So, I mean, it's everywhere. This is not just... It's so hard. And the thing that bothers me the most is the CDC and the WHO, and everybody thinks that these are experts and they're all tied to science, but they're not. They're also politically motivated. They're they're politically motivated. They're politically funded. And politicians can be bought, so can experts. But that's not the thing. Look at the states that are closed down. They're blue. They're all blue. So tell me this is not politically motivated 9 months in.
Yeah.
It is.
Something.
And we're being taken advantage, and we're being purposely hurt by our leaders, quote unquote, finger quotations, to send a message or to get federal bailouts or to do whatever the heck they're doing. But they're destroying lives, and they know that. They're aware of these statistics.
I think it's just sad that between both sides that they can't come together and understand that, Leah. I mean, it really.
They know it. They don't care. They don't care if we die. They don't care if we commit suicide. They don't care if we're depressed. They don't care if we lose our business. They don't care. They've sent that message, and it's loud and clear. They do not care
because they get paid.
Yeah.
It's you know what? By the way, I seriously want any one of those people that vote that, like, let's say bars, restaurants, or whatever have to be at 25% capacity or 30. Fine. Then you have to. By then, they're senator, governor, whoever you are, whatever your title is, okay? Mm-hmm. Then fine, you're getting 25 to whatever % of your pay.
It's the complying that is letting them do this.
That's all you get.
Mm-hmm. Stop complying. We don't have to. These are mandates, not laws. People need to stop.
And the thing is where this is, and for the listeners who are in and out and, sports show, there's so much going on. I mean, the Wisconsin game, Big Ten just got hit. The Justin Turner thing, like, it is happening all the time. So, again, and then Barb puts her... I don't want to step out of line. Barb got involved when saying sports and saying that's dishonest and not a need.
She doesn't
or
like
else.
sports, Jay.
Yeah,
it's apparent.
So that's where the whole story comes in. But the good thing is, and I'm happy that in our second hour we're gonna have a guest in, because I'm telling you, my heart broke when Adam told me that. Like, it just broke in two to think about that. To something I've been saying from the beginning, the long-term effects we're not paying attention to, and that was social interaction. How we're going to talk to people.
Because it's not projected on the mainstream media, just like the death numbers are.
Yes.
So I have to get this in there because this is very important. Okay. When I have arguments or debates with people and I say suicide's up 38%, unemployment is up, and they're like, well, prove it. You know why they say prove it? Because the mainstream media is not broadcasting these statistics. They're only broadcasting the death numbers daily, and that is fear-mongering.
They're not, Leah, I'll interrupt you real quick. They're not even broadcasting the death numbers.
Yeah, they are every day.
No, Leah, let me finish. The only thing they're broadcasting is positive test numbers. They don't even
bring
it, because if they bring up the death numbers, it's not going to meet their narrative.
Right, exactly. They purposely hide that there's a 99.8% survival rate. They hide that. They don't put that on the news.
The death numbers on every morning.
No, positive and deaths, but they don't say that these deaths are primarily from COVID.
Yeah.
They just say this is how many people died yesterday.
Nobody put on there.
They can't.
Jay Foster had it, and he's still perfect. No one did that.
They don't do that.
Doesn't make any sense.
I'll put it on my Twitter right now.
Okay.
They also say 1,200 people died yesterday in Iowa. They don't say what from. They just say that's how many people died.
This is Troy the Wino, and I'm not mainstream media, and I'm here to tell you that Jay Foss had the COVID, and he remains perfect.
But do you see the point of what I'm saying?
I understand everything you're saying. No,
so
I really do.
that's why the people are like, no, suicide's not up 38%. They don't believe me because they didn't see it on CNN. Or
why
they didn't
would
see
somebody even argue that?
They do because they don't believe it because the news didn't tell them.
Like what person? I just look at them and
they
be
don't
like,
believe
I don't really want to talk to you.
Because Fauci didn't tell them that that's happening.
Well, I don't want to. Anyway, all right, we got to take a break. In 6 minutes, we're going to be joined by Craig Gass at Comedy. We're going to talk to him about more. Thanks to you, Roy.
Did you post it?
More rock and roll stories, more sports stories. We haven't even talked to him about when Seattle won the Super Bowl, how excited he was. I just got my notes. notification on my Apple phone. So
I even added at CNN.
You gotta tag me in it. I want it on mine
I said,
too.
hey, Jay
Can
Faust
you
had
guys read?
COVID-19.
Will you guys read this so we can go to break and get it in before?
What?
Never mind. I'm going straight to it. You guys.
All right,
yeah.
we're too late.
You like that?
Give me a hell yeah. I said, give me a hell yeah.
This is Tyson Blazer, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us. We're local on ESPN 1170 AM.
Football is back at the Double Crown. No fans allowed in the stands, so get the best seats possible at the Double Crown Bar and Grill. During all big college football games, enjoy $5 pitchers of domestics and $2 wells. Stop in for lunch during the week. Tuesday is all-you-can-eat wings and Friday nights all-you-can-eat fish, both for just $11. Plus happy hour daily from 2 till 6. For daily specials, find them on Facebook. Double your fun every day at the Double Crown Bar and Grill, 217 Brady Street, downtown Davenport.
The biggest names in sports, coming to your mornings.
Bill Belichick, the 6-time Super Bowl champion, is here.
Morning, Coach Bill B.
Great to hear your voice. Congratulations on the show here, and I know you're going to provide a lot of great insight for the fans and even the people in the league. Nobody knows what's going on more than you do.
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Quality craftsmanship, attention to detail, and reliability. These are just a few of the things you will see when you transform your kitchen or bathroom with All-Star Home Services. Mike and his team have over 2 decades of experience remodeling kitchen and baths, and yours could be next. With financing available and $500 off your complete kitchen or bath project for a limited time. Call All-Star Home Services now. All-Star Home Services, 563-299-3786. Or visit all-starhomeservices.com.
Janae and Golick Jr.
The NCAA is still in its old bag of tricks, and we've heard the president, Mark Emmert, say that a bubble is possible for some of the tournaments coming up, looking down the line to March Madness, and it's what makes more farcical the idea that the NCAA or any of the powers in the world of college athletics can look and tell us they're doing as much as they can for what we're about to see in college football. I was on the call for the first college football game this season as Central Arkansas and Austin Peay played, and while everyone involved did what they could, we know ultimately the powers in college sports are preventing the bubbling of athletes because they know what admitting that comes with. And so when they try and sell me that they're doing everything they can, I unfortunately can't believe it, because they're already telling us and telling on themselves as they look forward towards the spring that the bubble might not only happen, but it is going to come with plenty of apparel you can buy, all in support of amateurism.
Janae and Golick Jr., 3 to 6 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Score a touchdown on your next new or used purchase at Sexton Ford. With a huge selection of new Ford cars and trucks, you'll feel like you've entered the big game each and every time. You'll be treated like a pro player from sales to service, auto body to parts. Sexton also has a strong bench of mildly used vehicles too. Why wait? The game's on at Sexton Ford in Moline.
Oh yeah, Sexton Ford is the talk of the town.
I've seen the worst things that can possibly happen. This isn't even close to that.
He's back on your radio. Greeny.
I have always felt basketball is a game where the team that is the best player wins. The Lakers would have the 2 best players.
Greeny, covering the top stories with the biggest names. Plus, breaking news.
Only in football do we wonder this aloud, and I just thought it was worth spelling out all of the ways in which Brady changed everything.
Greeny, weekdays at 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
If Teresa Greenfield and the Democrats take over, the following will take effect. $4 trillion in job-killing taxes, government takeover of healthcare, packing the courts, dismantling police departments, surrender to the mob, surrender to China, and a march toward socialism. Teresa Greenfield and the left, they'll tear this country apart. Stop the liberal takeover. Vote Joni Ernst.
Paid for by Iowa Values Action, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.iowavaluesaction.com.
Inject a little energy into your workday. Turn on the Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Don't Hassle Us Local. We got Craig Gass will be joining us shortly. I think
Yeah, he said he just pulled up.
He's
So-
probably out there in the parking lot helping Leah smoke her heater.
Yeah, don't say that out loud.
I'm just teasing.
But yeah, so Craig's going to be coming in just a minute. Craig's got 2 shows on Rhythm City Casino on Thursday night. I think it's 5:30 and 8 o'clock. He'll tell us all of it or whatever. But the guy's great. He was nice enough to come in yesterday, and he was nice enough to be nice to us, saying, like, I have more stories. I like talking with you guys. We can do this again. We said, why don't you come in tomorrow?
Oh, there's Leah.
So,
You see
Craig.
anybody in the parking lot?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, so
He's hiding from you.
So we're like, Craig, if you got the time, man, because he's doing all kinds of media stuff. If you got time, come on in, and it's great. He was on. You've got questions for him. Bomber's gonna have questions. He
Well, my
loves
thing
sports,
is,
but
yeah.
he was on Sex and the City. He was on King of Queens. He does voice for the Cleveland Show, American Dad.
There he is.
Family Guy, all that good stuff. So
Come on in, Craig.
there's our guy Craig. Back for day 2. I feel like it's like our own version of Joe Dirt. We're like, you got to come back another day.
Yeah, but he's like
he's much better. Yeah,
But he's not like the.
But
he's just like the. He's not the janitor of the.
But the difference is we're Joe Dirt.
Yeah, we're Joe Dirt. Yeah,
we're
yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Dirt, and he's
He's was a guy named Xander or something?
Yeah. But it's played by Dennis.
Dennis. I mean, I almost said Leary.
Dennis Miller.
Dennis Miller. God.
But yeah, it's a Xander show. But yeah, basically we're Joe Dirt, and he's. But it's a little bit different. But yeah. So we were like, hey, can we have you come back? And he was like, yeah, I'll go back.
So Craig, this is Leah.
Hi.
Hey, Leah. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
And you wear a twin shirt
Yeah,
just
what is
to
going
just to
on?
be
What's
nice
this-
to
What's
Jay.
the twin shirt?
It is, if you look at the back,
It's a Prince shirt.
it's a Prince jersey.
Oh.
I knew right when it was purple.
Formerly known as.
I didn't.
And I guarantee he met Prince. You know, he almost died here.
No, I never met Prince.
Yeah,
but
you did, didn't
I
you?
have a few friends who worked with him and lived at Paisley Park. And every time I perform in Minneapolis, I always invite them to come out. And then afterwards, it's like, hey, can we all hang? And they go, yeah. And they haven't connected the dots. Every time we do that, it just becomes me kind of quietly peppering them with questions about
Prince.
So, and they have dropped some doozies on me about him too. I remember asking them because my friend Takumi, who was Prince's guitar tech, he's always bringing other former employees of Prince with him, and I'll just ask him. I remember saying, "What did you call him when he didn't want to be called Prince? Like when he was just a symbol, what would you call him?" And they were like, "Oh, what do we call him? We called him Dude for a while." And then he was coworker, right? Yeah, coworker. And I was like, coworker? And they said, yeah, it's actually a funny story. We were on tour, and in the middle of a sound check, our stage manager is standing next to Prince, and he's listening to his monitors and doing sound check, and he goes, tell him to turn the monitors up. And the stage manager gets on his radio and goes, hey, boss man wants you to turn up the monitors. And he goes, I'm not your boss. And the guy goes, correction, my coworker would like you to turn up. And Prince started laughing. He goes, I like that. Hey, everybody call me coworker. And for the next 6 months, everyone's like, hey, coworker. Like, isn't that cool? I love stories.
Craig in studio with us is Leah Bomber. She's here on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. So
why only Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Because of this hybrid teaching thing. She's got to take care of the kids.
She's also
every
a
day.
teacher.
Yeah, I'm a teacher.
Really? Who do you teach?
My children.
Yeah, because of the COVID.
Homeschool?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't have a choice right now. It's send them to school in
2
a
days a
mask
week.
for 8 hours a day, or they stay home.
Are they going crazy?
Well, am I? Yes.
Yeah.
They're going a little less crazy. Well, they're going crazy just as much as me, but on a slower pace.
I like that
you
I
know?
say, are the kids going crazy? And she goes, let's talk about me.
Yeah. Man, you just met Bomber.
I was already crazy to begin with.
So I was introducing everybody back. It was, maybe new to the show today that didn't listen yesterday, but you have 2 shows at the Rhythm City Casino on Thursday night.
Yes.
5:30?
6:30 and 8:30.
6:30 and 8:30, okay.
I'm a comedian. I'm usually funny.
Yeah.
By the way, my wife, who loved Sex in the City, I'm like, hey, so did you ever watch Sex in the City? She goes, yeah.
Who didn't?
I love that. And I go, well, I had a guy in studio that was on the show. You did?
I still can't figure out what you did there. Like I was Googling it afterwards.
So you said
what's the
your
glazed
character,
donut thing?
I did something horrible on there.
You were Amanda's boyfriend?
I was
Miranda's. See,
The redhead.
I didn't watch the show.
The redheaded attorney.
You gotta forgive me.
I met her. I had to put on weight to do the show because we met at a Weight Watchers meeting. So I put on 35 pounds to do the show, and
I was gonna say because from like that when I see your pictures from the one screenshots they've had, I'm like, man, it looks kind of
You know I'm
chubby
gonna
there. You don't
DVR
look
that
chubby
when
now.
I get home, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's basically we every time I get together with Miranda, I love to perform. Perform on Miranda.
Okay.
Not like perform like but perform for on Miranda, and then every time I perform on Miranda, she has such a huge reaction that she explodes all over my face, and I'm such a sensitive guy that I just want to hold her and kiss her afterwards.
And she doesn't
I
like
think
the
I
fact
remember
that she doesn't
the
want you to hold
scene
and kiss
that
her.
you were
Which
in.
freaks her out because my face
is shiny.
Is with Miranda. So
that's great.
I think I remember.
Yeah, and that's all I did. My first day on
The
the set
episode.
for 19 hours. I performed that single sex act for 19 hours from 6 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock the next morning.
19 hours. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Really?
I'll tell you what. If anybody said to me, T-Ray, we need you to come and be the guy that does this.
The glazed donut guy.
Done.
Every woman and every gay man in America watches that show, and yeah, it's really weird. Every show I've been on, outside of Family Guy, I was completely unaware of. I was aware of Sex and the City. Like all my female friends in New York were like, "You're going to be on the biggest show ever. This is the greatest show ever." But I never watched it. Same for Las Vegas, and I was excited about doing Las Vegas because Alec Baldwin wanted to work with me. And Alec Baldwin, who just name dropped me a week ago on Conan O'Brien, that blew my mind because I haven't seen him in 10 years. But Alec Baldwin, who every day on the set would come to my trailer and knock on my door and ask me to do impressions for him. And Alec Baldwin does.
Now he's doing
amazing impressions.
Yeah,
but even back then, like he'd knock on the door and he'd go, "Hi, I just wanted to come in and listen. Some impressions. Can I hear you do some impressions?" And I go, "Yeah." And I'd always have a friend visiting me, and I go, "This is my friend from Davenport. Will you do your Tony Bennett impression for my buddy?" And he does a Tony Bennett that it's one of those impressions where you go, "What does that Tony Bennett impression sound like?" But he grabs an empty martini glass and he'll just get a glossy look in his face and go, "Yeah, I'll tell you what. I used to date Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was a real foxy lady. I once made love to Marilyn for up to 12 hours until the paramedics came along and said, 'Tony, she's gone.'" Like the material was so dark. The material was so but he had this amazing ability to do impressions. And
I have to ask.
Yes,
Jay, you know who I'm gonna ask.
I think you should.
All right, seriously, I have the biggest crush on Leah Remini.
Oh my God,
dude.
She
She's
was
my girl.
When I worked on King of Queens, I thought that Kevin and I were going to be like that. And Leah seemed like a tough broad. And I was like, I don't know, and Leah and I...
It's the name. It's the name.
And Leah and I, we bonded so tightly, we were calling each other F-face, within 24 hours.
Oh, nice.
That's a term of endearment.
Absolutely.
Yes, totally.
100%.
I feel like I dated Leah before.
I walk in and, did you date me? We dated?
I feel like I dated you before. Yeah, this is starting to sound very
Girls?
familiar. Yeah.
You're Crazy Girls.
Yeah, I love Crazy Girls.
Hey!
You dated Leah.
Yeah, and Kevin,
I'm good with
Kevin
it.
James
I know who I am.
was standoffish, which really bummed me out. And this is a real...
He was intimidated by you.
No, it was his show. He was the one who signed off on me. Like the head writer for the show he wanted me to be a recurring character. But shortly after my episode, the same guy who wrote my character also wrote a movie called Hitch with Kevin and Will Smith.
Yeah.
And that once Kevin got a taste of movies, which apparently takes less time and you get paid more money, he was like, screw it, let's just do that. And but I'm so insecure about wanting to be friends with Kevin that every day at rehearsal, whenever this is really shameful to admit this. Every time he would announce, every time he'd announce, like, all right, well, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I would bolt towards the exit and wait for him to show up, and then I would like pretend like, oh, Kevin, hey, thanks again, man, for getting me on this show. And I was hoping for like a little like discussion to happen, but every day he'd just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna be great, and he'd just walk away. I go, man, I want more out of this. I mean, between this and the Matt Hasselbeck story, I think
I'm gonna tweet him.
I'm gonna tweet him.
Yeah, so, but now where did it go with Leah?
Well, Leah, we just bonded for 2 weeks, and then it was over. It's like I only did the one.
Women are easier, I think.
See, I'll tell you what, like
hit it off with.
Yeah, and I even got like I had like 10 times more. Like my crush even grew more when she like left Scientology and she started. I mean, because what she did was really.
Yeah.
It was brave.
Yeah, but I mean, she's still like. Yeah.
I'm laughing because the only thing that really stands out about my time out there is I remember having to go to the bathroom really bad one afternoon while we were rehearsing, and I walked into the bathroom, the main bathroom on the set, and there was a live raccoon in the bathroom. And I was like, oh my God. And I slammed the door and I was like, hey, there's an animal in the, and they had to call security, and they're like, all right, we got security on the way. And then one of the directors said, hey, Craig, just go to Leah. If you have to use the restroom, just go to Leah's dressing room. She loves you. And I go, oh, really? And they go, yeah, she'll let you use the restroom. So I walked over and I was like, hey, Leah, there's like a live animal in the restroom. You mind if I use yours? She goes, of course. You're not going to take a dump, are you? And I was like, no. And so I just walked in her bathroom. I closed the door. I just turned the sink on for a minute, and then I went back out and looked for another bathroom.
Oh, because you did have to make a dump.
Bad.
She wouldn't have cared.
That's what I'd have been like, no, I actually got to drop the deuce. So.
That's how we flirt. We flirt like that.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Leah loves the smell of poop. It's funny.
Really?
I'm not ashamed. You know what? I have, honest to God, every boyfriend I have ever had in my entire life, this is a test that I do.
You make them poop on you?
No, I will poop in front of them with the door open and see how they react. And if they react like, oh my God, it's so disgusting, you're not the one for me.
You poop in front of them? So
with
you
the
do
door open.
You do the Leslie Mann thing from Change Up?
I don't even know what that is.
Come at me, guns high.
I don't know.
But I have no shame. Everybody poops. My 5-year-old read that book. So everybody poops. Yes, if we're talking and second date, after the door's open. What are you doing?
So if we were dating right now, like let's say if our second date.
We're not dating, and I'd still poop in front of you.
I would fart on you then.
Thank you for tuning in to ESPN 1170 AM.
You know what's crazy about that? I've always wanted, like, my last couple girlfriends, like, I just want you to just fart once.
You would never have to worry about that with me.
Well, that way you can do it.
Like, not a bad one, like not a smelly one. But
Why
just like
hide it? Why do they hide it?
I just like the firecracker sound. I like it. I like the. Its farts are funny. So.
Well, they are hilarious.
Every bodily function is funny. I mean, if you break it down.
I take pictures of my.
There's no shame in that. Women are like, I have women that I've known that are married for 20 years. Like, I've never done that in front of my husband. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
There's no need for any of this conversation.
I feel like she probably is.
He could have pooped in Leah Remini's place, and he chose not to. That's a gentleman thing to do.
I would have respected you more if you did poop in my
I would have had a lot of conversations about her time on Saved by the Bell.
I didn't even know she was on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
What?
Really?
Yeah, Stacey Carosi.
Yep.
Wow. Well, Saved by the Bell. What were the years of Saved by the Bell?
No, it was the second.
It was past
one.
us.
No, it was not in the college.
It was the one at the resort.
Yes, that was summertime.
But that's when I started
probably
partying.
93, 89 and like 93.
That's when I started partying, so I kind of I missed the boat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And 93 was the college year, so probably 88.
I discovered a lot of things, like when that Saved by the Bell came out. Beer.
Yeah.
By the way, related to Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin told me an insane story about how he almost got in a fist fight with Al Pacino.
Oh no!
And
okay, that's not a hard fight.
I think Pacino would be a really intense guy. I think he's got the fire. But
he's gonna have to punch up.
Yeah, the story was
he's a little man, right?
He's little, yeah.
The story was riveting, though. That Alec Baldwin, and he'd been mentioning it all week long. Kept saying, "I got to get you this script. I got to tell you the story. I have a crazy story about Al Pacino that I got to tell you." And then he finally tells me that apparently Alec Baldwin was set to star in a one-man show about Al Pacino's life. that was going to be, it was a one-man show off Broadway, and the problem was that the one-man show about Al Pacino's life was written by a former best friend of Al Pacino's. And the former best friend revealed a lot of personal information about Al Pacino's life that Al Pacino did not want people to know about. And Baldwin says everywhere he goes, people are walking up to him at events and going, I don't know what's going on. I'm just forwarding this information to you. I just saw Al Pacino at a premiere 2 weeks ago, and he said the next time he sees you, he's going to beat your ass. I don't know what that's about. And he keeps hearing about, like, people are saying, he physically wants to beat the crap out of you. And the show opened. The show was scheduled to open on Tuesday, September 11th, 2001.
Oh, boy.
And so what was supposed to be a 3-week run, I think became a total of 2 performances. And Baldwin says that one day Pacino showed up. He goes, in my apartment building, the elevator door opens up in Los Angeles. Who's in the elevator? It's Al Pacino, Beverly D'Angelo, and a real estate broker. They're looking for an apartment in my building. And he said as soon as the elevator door opened up, Al Pacino went, oh, Jesus. Here we go. Here we go. And he said Beverly D'Angelo jumps off the elevator, clueless, and goes, oh, my God! Alec! Look who it is, Alec! We were just talking about you. You're so political. You should be like a president or something. Weren't we saying that, Al? Weren't we just saying that? And he said the whole time, Pacino's looking at him going, who, this guy? Yeah. This guy does anything he wants, don't you, Alec? You just do anything you want. Beverly D'Angelo, clueless, goes walking down the hall with a real estate broker in tow, and Al Pacino just eyeballs him as he walks past him, and Baldwin says, Al, can I talk to you for 1 second? He says, what? You got something you got to say to me? What do you got to say to me, Alec? And he goes, listen, I know you know about the play. And he goes, play? You were in a play. Tell me about your fruity little play. I'm dying to hear about your little play. And he goes, listen, I know you know about the play. I just want to tell you a couple things. Number one, I wasn't going to do it in your backyard. I was only going to do it in New York City. Number two, I only agreed to do the show for 3 weeks. And number three, and this is the truth, I've never had more fun in my life than I did playing you. And that's the truth. And he said, Pacino looked at him and said, Alec, how in the world can you have fun being me? Because I'm miserable. I am miserable. And they worked through it. They shook hands and they made their peace. But just hearing the story made me want to poop. Like my stomach was like, I was like, oh, like I couldn't believe these two guys are squaring off. These two incredibly macho guys are squaring off, and he diffused it. And I was blown away by that. But
well, the height difference and the weight class difference is
true.
So
I didn't even realize he was married to Beverly D'Angelo.
But I don't see Alec Baldwin being a real tough guy.
They were hammering it out, but they didn't actually get married.
Now,
Did she ever call him Sparky?
Yes. Okay, that's who I thought it was.
Oh, is that? Yeah, that's right. The Sparky. Yeah, no. But
before we go to break, what is some of the oddest impressions that you're asked to do?
Well, I told you about the Al Pacino's baby thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an odd one. What is the oddest one I've ever been asked to do? Well, I get asked to do stuff for. I get auditions with Family Guy, American Dad, and now from Disney, where it's just they know I can do voices, so they'll say, "Hey, can you do this voice?" And then if you give me at least a few days, I can hit it. And
Troy says you could do my voice. Can you do my voice?
Yes, I can.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Hi, this is Leah. I am a perfect impression. Who?
No, that's not me, though.
That was totally you. That was spot on. If you close your eyes, you're too close to it. But I'll get impressions and I'll do. The tough thing is when I call my friends. I'll call my friends and I'll ask my friends to help me listen, and I'll say, "Hey, can you listen and tell me if this sounds right?" And my friends are critical.
Yeah,
as they should be.
Right.
Because they're my friends and they care about me. But
but don't you need to like sometimes for me because I've done some impressions, right? And it's almost like sometimes you need to see someone else do it.
Yes.
It's like as you see them do it, and in your head you're visualizing how, all right, now I'm seeing how they're making that noise.
You know
or you
what?
need to be around somebody. Like I can do my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay knows that. I can do my dad to the T where, like, if I'm at his house, I'll answer his phone because he still has a landline. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of girlfriends that still call. You
Really?
know, and so, like, yeah. So my dad, I'll answer the phone. Like, his friends, like, he'd always answer the phone, yo. I'm like, yo.
Really?
And like, Raymond, what are you doing? Just taking a poop. You know?
That's funny that I always say that growing up, like I learned how to, my whole family's deaf, so I learned how to talk by watching TV, and I copied all the voices I heard on TV. And I always point out to people that you could really do any voice. It's just you've become accustomed to talking the way that you do because you listen to everybody in your environment and you just blend in so that you can sound like everybody around you. And that's why deaf people sound the way they do. And that's why people with goofy accents from all over the world sound the way that they do because they're just trying to they hear what's next to them and they just try to blend into that sound. And deaf people it's just sound coming out of their mouth and they don't know how to adjust it or and I always point out, it's like, have you ever called your best friend and somebody picks up the phone at the house and you think it's your best friend and it could be somebody of the opposite sex in the same family, but they've all learned how to pick up the phone and go mellow. You do that little nuance, but
the mellow.
But I will call my friends and they'll be really critical of what I'm trying to learn how to do, and then I'll get defensive. Like I'll say, hey, can you listen to this for a minute? And then my friends listen and go, that doesn't sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'll go, It's Arnold Schwarzenegger after a bad car accident. You're not listening. I'm not trying to do.
Hello.
Yeah. So that way, if I qualify it with that, then I can get away with my dumb. Yeah.
When he's falling like, in the march.
Like I can't do a Mark Wahlberg impression, but I can do something that I just call out of breath Mark Wahlberg, which is just simply. Guys, are you serious?
That's really good.
You gotta help me out.
Good, yeah.
Like, there's a car accident outside. You gotta help me pull those bodies out.
That's good.
Arnold Schwarzenegger just got in a car accident. Yeah. You gotta help me pull the bodies. Come on, feel the vibration. Yeah. So I just got lightheaded doing that.
That was a good one, though.
It was pretty good.
God. This is the best
That was
Wednesday
really
ever.
solid.
We're in studio with Craig. We're going to take a quick break here on ESPN 1170 AM. We'll be right back.
Rhythm
More
City
stories.
Casino.
There you go.
Tomorrow
Rhythm City
night.
tomorrow night, 6:30 and 8:30. 2 shows. That is social distance, so tickets are going to be bought up. Go to
Leah.
Rhythm City.
This is Leah, the co-host here. Leah, I just want to let everybody know that Leah here, and I endorse this show. Everybody go because the humanoids and the government's after you. But I'm here as Leah to tell you that if you want to go see the show, make sure you go to rhythmcitycasino.com and don't believe.
That's the closest anybody's ever.
I think that was your classy Freddie Blassie from the WWE as manager. Yeah.
This is Leah just telling you, Craig Gass, Rhythm City Casino. Make sure to go to the show.
Sounds like Kelly Jeffries.
Just don't call me sir. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, Sir Bomber.
All right, we'll be right back.
AlexJones.com.
6 other Read that for me, will you?
How do you know I love Alex Jones?
Now, live read. Go ahead. Everybody, there's a conspiracy theory to try to stop this live read from happening on the air. Go ahead. And
How does he know me so
I have
well?
no idea because we did not say anything yesterday about how.
Let's do the live read. Go ahead, sir.
Owned and operated since 1934, Tri-City
I
Equipment
heard it was
is your
1933
source.
and something terrible happened. But go
My
ahead.
face
1934.
hurts.
Go ahead.
Very competitive prices and full service. All stuff you need. Cookware.
I love cookware.
Refrigeration, utensils. All parts
That's
and
where my
labor
survival stuff
guaranteed
is.
30 and 90 days. If you're looking for a specific item or your home chef needs a gift, check out TriCityEquipment.com.
What's the name of the company?
Tri-City Equipment.
Tri-City Equipment. Best equipment ever. Go to Tri-City Equipment and you will survive an extra 90 years. You'll be able to live when everybody dies after the Holocaust.
They do have
TriCityEquipment.com.
They do have
There's a new Holocaust coming.
Located at 527 West 4th Street, guys. Check them out. Remember, they match any online pricing, so there's no need to go to the big box stores. Give them a call, 563-322-5382.
322-5382.
Tell them Leah Baum and
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones sent you.
That's right. And they say there's over.
You like that? Woo! Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
This is Rachel Alger with St. Ambrose University, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
The Circle Tap in Davenport is your place to catch all the action this football season. Enjoy $2 cans for every Iowa and Iowa State game and watch every NFL game with the NFL Sunday Ticket on one of their 16 flat-screen TVs. Get $2 domestic cans and $6 pulled pork sandwiches and fries every Sunday. Book your holiday party now and enjoy the heated patio for your next event. Enjoy great food, great drinks, and great friends all season long at the Circle Tap, West Locust Street, Davenport.
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
There's absolutely nothing, for example, the New York Jets can do this season that is going to change the fact that they're going to be a terrible football team. So does firing the coach help? Well, they're trying to develop a young quarterback in Sam Darnold. And all of you across the country who may not see a lot of him saw why Jet fans like me remain hopeful about him. Because he obviously has so much physical ability, but he still makes terrible mistakes, and so much of that can be laid at the feet of the brilliant offensive mind whose job it is to develop him. And so I guess my feeling is, if the head coach is doing such a bad job that the team can't beat anybody, that they commit 11 penalties in a game, including multiple dirty late hits, including one on the very last play of the game that had the opposing coach telling his players run off the field before we have a brawl out here. And oh, by the way, the quarterback is regressing?
Greeny, weekdays at 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Premier Metal Art is now licensed and trademarked with the University of Iowa to produce and sell Hawkeye's metal art. Made here in the Quad Cities. Order your customized fire pit in 3 different sizes, perfect for tailgating. Premier Metal Art also has Hawkeye's multi-layer pieces, perfect for your home and man cave. It's not too early to order for Christmas, so get your custom Hawkeye's order in now. Call 563-345-9500. Premier Metal Art, Eldridge, Iowa. On Facebook or online at qcpremier.com. Finish your holiday shopping today.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Gary Moore is delivering real solutions for Iowa families. Thanks to Gary Moore's leadership, Iowa has a balanced budget, which is why we were better prepared than any other state to deal with the economic impacts of the COVID crisis. Gary Moore led the effort to help working Iowa families find safe, reliable childcare so parents can continue to work. Gary Moore is focused on getting Iowans back to work and school safely. Keep Iowa moving in the right direction. Vote Gary Moore for state representative.
Paid for by Gary Moore for State House.
Score a touchdown on your next new or used purchase at Sexton Ford. With a huge selection of new Ford cars and trucks, you'll feel like you've entered the big game each and every time. You'll be treated like a pro player from sales to service, auto body to parts. Sexton also has a strong bench of mildly used vehicles too. Why wait? The game's on at Sexton Ford in Moline.
Oh yeah, Sexton Ford is the talk of the town.
From the Sheedy Family Chiropractic Studios, this is the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM, KBOB Davenport.
All right, everybody, we are back here in the Hassle Castle with our special guest, Craig Gass.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you, I said before we got back in here, I had to ask you. So, we kind of explained to you how this show goes, and it's all over the place. But about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we always come up with movies that need to be redone. And then we try to pick out the cast of the movie. And we're still trying to figure this one out. But we think we have it down so far. We're going to redo Smokey and the Bandit.
Yep.
Really?
We want Matthew McConaughey to be the bandit.
Lock.
But we still need to figure out who's going to be Frog.
I think it's Kate Hudson. Sorry, I just threw that.
And I think
No, she needs bigger boobs.
Yeah, see, he said Kate Hudson. I think
She's got
Scarlett
mosquito
Johansson.
bites. Yes, you need some tatas on there.
All right, and now we still haven't got a perfect call for the snowman.
No, we haven't.
And we still haven't figured out who's going to be Buford T. Justice.
I can actually one-up everything that's going on in this conversation.
But we nailed Big Enos and Little Enos. It's The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. Smoking the Bandit was not a movie. It was a documentary.
Are you me right
Documentary
now?
that actually was a gentleman with a beautiful mustache driving cross country. Let me tell you something. When I was 6 years old, I rode my bicycle cross country because I was a man. I was a man. That's what I did. Anyways, I want to tell you about a new product we just came up with on the Alex Jones Show. It's the Alex Jones butt cream, available for $14.95.
I feel Alex Jones and Gene Simmons do the same thing.
I know that Leah was telling me that your butt smells much nicer now that you use butt cream. And
Absolutely.
Available $14.95 at alexjones.com.
DM me.
Rhythm City Casino's having the 2 shows tomorrow night. I've been there 4 times. I haven't heard any rhythm going on inside the casino. It's a conspiracy. I don't know.
It's
Sorry.
like he's spying on me.
Sorry.
Oh,
It's all
no.
I would not touch Smokey and the Bandit. It bums
I
me
wouldn't
out
either.
when didn't it bum you out when Bad News Bears got remade?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a bummer.
With Keanu Reeves. Wait.
Willy Wonka? Like how do you remake
Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah.
Willy Wonka? I mean, it was like, I can't do remakes. You know, it's you know, and you know, we all get sucked in because we're fans of the original.
Yeah.
It's such a classic, and then you go in and it's like, oh man.
What's the worst remake
But they
we've
make
ever
it.
seen?
They have to make a remake, or else they lose the rights to it. Every so many years. That's
Why?
That's why like Jane Austen is being made. Little
so
Women.
so the rights expire?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I know that
Okay.
about songs. I didn't know that about movies.
That's why they've done Little Women so many times. That's why there's a Jane Austen. That's why you'll have.
Well, I know that's why there's King Kong and all that. So and Godzilla.
That's why Kiss is going to be remade at some
Godzilla.
point. I know that they keep saying that that Kiss can and will carry on after those guys are done performing, which is ridiculous. But
I guess if they feel
By
it's
the
iconic,
way-
and if there's a movie studio that doesn't think Smoking the Bandit's iconic, then that's on them. That's
by the way, I didn't get into much with about when we started talking about Gene Simmons yesterday.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the stories that people tell me about Gene?
You touched on it, but then you didn't tell any stories.
Gene, when I started doing the impression of Gene Simmons on the Howard Stern show, all these people who work with Kiss started coming out of the woodwork to say, "Hey man, I got a story for you, and I don't know if maybe you could do it on stage." And I would hear the stories and I'd go, "I can't say that on stage. It's terrible." But they were hilarious. Like a friend of mine called me up from a recording studio. He works with another band, Chili Peppers, and he was recording an album. He said, "Hey, the guy who owns this recording studio is a huge fan of yours. Can I put him on the phone with you?" And I said, "Of course." And the guy said, "Hey man, I love all your impressions, especially your Gene Simmons, because Gene was the first guy to ever screw me over in this business." And I thought you might have.
Yeah, you told us this one. This is when he had to go down the hall in the Wu-Tang
And then he saw the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
And then the other one with Miss America. Did I tell you the Miss America
No,
story?
you didn't tell that
And
one.
that he apparently went to a guy who works with Kiss, said Gene Simmons, believe it or not, hooked up with Miss America while we were on tour.
Well, yeah.
It was the
I believe that.
reigning Miss America of that year, and Gene hooked up with her.
His wife was okay with that. They had an open marriage.
That was the rumor.
Yeah.
And but the next day,
You'd have to.
after hooking up with Miss America, the next day, according to this guy, Gene hooked up with a whore, a girl that was such a mess that even the guys in the road crew were like, "Jesus, did you see that?" Then the next day, they have a day off in a town that's so small that the band and the crew are staying in the same hotel, and usually the Kiss will stay in a 5-star hotel and the band will stay, or the crew will stay like in a smaller, cheaper hotel. But they're staying in the same hotel, and this guy's telling me from his point of view, he's in the bar of the hotel, and he said, "I just happened to turn around right as Gene Simmons was walking through the lobby, and he's dragging this enormous girl with him through the lobby, gets in the elevator, pushes the button for his floor, and then looks at me. We make eye contact through the lobby, and he goes, 'Oh yeah,' bing," and then the doors close. And he said the next day at sound check, he walked up to Gene and said, "Gene, did you hook up with that girl last night?" And he goes, "Of course." And he goes, "Didn't you hook up with Miss America that night?" He goes, "Steve, listen to me. I'm going to give you valuable advice, okay? You can't have filet mignon every night. Sometimes you got to go to McDonald's. It's the worst advice I've ever heard from one man to another man.
Ain't it the truth?
It's horrifying.
Kind of a Gene. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, the most horrifying advice
Oh,
I've ever heard.
But Gene is known as somewhat of an impo. So like he's never really turned down a female. That's his reputation.
I know a band that did an album with him that said that they were in the studio. This is in the 80s, and they have MTV on a TV while they're recording, and there's a Heart video that comes up, and Gene asks everybody in the room, who would you do, Ann or Nancy? And everyone goes, oh, dude.
Which one's the brunette?
The brunette is Ann, and Nancy was Ann was heavier, and Nancy was the skinnier blonde one.
See, I'm taking
Heroin chic, if you will.
And everyone in the room was like, oh, Nancy. And he goes, no, you do Ann because she'll work for it. It was like, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yes, he's a huge misogynist.
Hey, dude. I totally feel like I'm Gene
Nancy,
Simmons.
because she was married to Cameron Crowe.
No, it's Ann.
It's
She did
neither.
the soundtrack of Almost Famous.
By the way, there's a couple things I never got to yesterday I wanted to tell you.
Sure.
One was that I've always said that I'll never go to the World Series unless the Chicago Cubs were in the World Series. To which all my friends would always say, well, then you're never going to the World Series.
Oh, no, but why the Cubs?
Because I loved my experiences of going to Wrigley and seeing how faithful those fans were.
Okay.
And it was the opposite of what I saw as a kid growing up at Yankee Stadium, where there was a self-righteousness and an attitude.
Now, does everybody because you mentioned your friend in Mike and Pearl Jam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he a Cubs fan or is it just Eddie? I didn't know if there was a connection at all.
The band has season tickets for the Mariners behind third base. There's also a batting cage in their. They have a facility south of downtown.
Facility.
Well, it's a warehouse that where they rehearse. They have their
a batting cage,
and they have a batting cage. They have their management, their fan club, all of their merchandise is in there. Publicity, everything's all in one building. They're a self-contained unit in there. And Eddie Vedder, huge baseball fan, and apparently a lot of professional baseball players who come to town to play the Mariners, if they have a day off, they will find their way to the warehouse and ask if Eddie's around because they want to meet Eddie because they know that Eddie's a big baseball fan.
Fair, yeah.
But
I can't imagine he's swinging a strong bat, but he's got to be.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, they do have a batting cage in there, and he does like to play in there. But
anyway, going back to, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah,
so the Cubs make it to the World Series, and I got tickets to Games 6 and 7 in Cleveland. And when I went to the games, especially at Game 7, I started texting friends of mine in Cleveland to see if I knew anybody that was there at the game. And a friend of mine who owns a really popular local chain of grilled cheese sandwich restaurants called The Melt was there. And I texted him, and he said, dude, I'm in the third row. I'm sitting behind John Cusack and Eddie Vedder. And I said, well, if you want to meet up, let me know. And he said, well, you won't be able to get to me because I'm behind a wall of police here. You won't be able to get to where I'm at. And I was like, all right, whatever. And walking around the stadium, I got recognized by an employee for the Indians who, and it was nutty that this guy yelled out, he goes, hey, and he looks at me, he's a black dude, and he says, weren't you on, and I started thinking of all the shows he might know me from, and he goes, that metal show? And I go, yeah, I go, are you a metal fan? He goes, I love heavy metal. And I was like, get out of here. Dude, you know I'm the first comedian to ever open for Metallica? And he goes, no way. And we started talking. And then I said, do you know Gene Simmons hates me? And he goes, what? How'd that happen? And I'm telling him that story. And while we're talking, people are walking up to him and showing him their tickets. And he's going, oh, let me just scan your, okay, yeah, you're good. Let me give you a wristband. Anyways, so tell me what happened with Gene Simmons. And he keeps interrupting the conversation to hand out wristbands to people who have the right ticket. And I said, what are these wristbands for? And he goes, oh, it's like we have a private club behind home plate. It's called the Home Run Club. Do you want a wristband? And I go, absolutely. And he gave me the wristband, and he goes, so what happened with Gene Simmons? And I go, do you mind if I finish this in a little bit? And he goes, oh, yeah, go. So I went behind home plate in the 5th inning, and I texted my buddy, and I said, dude, I am right behind you. Look behind you. There's a club behind the 10th row. He comes back to join me and says, if a seat opens up, I'll let you know. Which I was like, how is that? And in the 9th inning, he texted me and said, dude, one of the wives of one of the players just left because she had a baby with no ear protection. So she left to like protect the kid. So come on down. And I went down to the 3rd row. I cut across. And the guy in front of me turns around. It's John Cusack. In front of him is Eddie Vedder. And in the bottom of the 10th, I whip out my camera phone and I start doing a Facebook Live to just witness history. This is the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series for the first time in over 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Facebook Live used to count down 3, 2, 1, you're live. And it's counting down, and I felt somebody with all of his body weight started leaning on me and pushing me forward. And I turned around. It was Bill Murray. He's drunk and crying. And right at that moment, I turned around and I have my camera up to get the shot, and there's so many things I want to stop and just go, I love you.
Yeah.
I want to just go, I love you so much. But he's leaning on me, and I just go, Bill, hold on. And I started filming, and right as I got the last out, it's about 1 minute into the Facebook Live, I turn around, and we start high-fiving and hugging each other.
Aww.
All the footage.
I guarantee I watched him do. I watched you do that.
I probably saw it too.
I was in the midst of tears at some point right around there too. But
We all cried, didn't we?
Well, if you're a Cub fan, you did.
Yes.
Yeah, there's. I'll show it to you, and I'll send it to you so you can post it on your social media stuff.
Insane.
Send it to me.
It's 5 minutes of just me and Bill, and it's the craziest. I mean, it's literally right in front of him. All the footage of Bill celebrating is Bill hugging and high-fiving a guy with a Mariners hat on, and that's me. It was nuts. And those weren't even my seats. And you can see John Cusack and Bonnie Hunt and Eddie Vedder in front of me. Yeah, Bonnie Hunt. And
I loved her in Jumanji.
It was the weirdest right place, right time at that moment.
It's true.
I didn't know that she was in Jumanji.
Bonnie Hunt, yeah.
But
she was his girlfriend grown up. Robin Williams' girlfriend grown up.
I didn't know that.
I only remember
Check
Bonnie
it
Hunt from Kissing a Fool.
Well,
all right, now I have to
the
get
original Jumanji was really good.
Have you guys ever snuck into an event, a big event?
No.
Yes, that's her. Yes, I've snuck into many.
We don't care about Bonnie Hunt.
What shows have you snuck into or events?
I snuck into backstage at Puddle of Mud.
Really?
When I was 19 years old.
Whoa.
But I was way hotter than I am right now, so they just let me do it.
Did you bring any heroin for the second?
No, I didn't do that stuff. I brought the other stuff.
I snuck into Any Given Sunday.
You went
the movie?
Yeah.
Have I snuck into it? I don't think so.
The movie's it.
I
Like you go to see one movie and then you walk into the next.
That was one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah.
Pay for one movie and sneak into a second one.
I can't remember what the first one was.
Oh, yeah.
I think I actually snuck into a third one once, and the employees started staring at me like, does that guy work here? Like, I was there for so long.
Been here forever.
And I don't have the time to do that. That was one of my favorite
now they got
pastimes.
assigned seating. It screwed everything
Dude,
up, man.
What's
screwed it all up.
I was going to say the NBA Finals of 90, oh man, was it 97? When the Sonics played the Bulls?
Yeah.
A friend of mine who worked at the Key Arena snuck me into Game 6 in Seattle. It was Game 5 or Game 6 in Seattle, and I was ecstatic about being in the building. And then as I'm walking around, nobody would let me stand in the aisle of the entryway for each section. I would try to stand and watch, and all the ushers were like hawks. They were like, you can't stand here. You have to go to your seat. And I'd go to the next section. You got to go to your seat. And I couldn't get away. So I threw a Hail Mary, and I walked out towards the exit. And I talked to a ticket taker and said, is it okay to leave the arena and come back? And he said, only if you need to use an ATM, because there was no ATMs in the building at the time, or if you need, I can't remember what the other excuse was. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I do need to use an ATM. And he goes, all right, you have your ticket on you, right? And I said, yeah, I do. And then I just talked to him for a little bit, just told him jokes, made him laugh. And then I said, all right, so yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes. He goes, all right, yeah, just hold on to your ticket. And I walked out, and I went to a corner where a bunch of scalpers hung out at, and just flagged him down and just said, who's got one good seat? And scalpers started hitting me up, and one guy came up and said, here, man, I got a seat. It's 102, row 4, seat 5. And I said, all right. That's 4th row from the court? And he goes, yeah. And I go, how much you want for it? And he goes, give me 800, man. 800, it's yours. And I go, I'm not doing 800. He goes, how much you want to pay? And I said, I don't want to pay 800. He goes, come on, man. Dude, it's 800. All right, give me 6. Give me 6. Just put this in your hand. Go ahead. Just give me 6. Just put it in your hand. Go ahead, give me 6. I was like, I don't want it. He goes, how about 4? 4. Right now, 4. Done deal. And I go, no, man, I don't want it. He goes, how much you want to pay? And I go, I don't want to pay that. And I walked away, went back to the arena, and the guy was taking tickets. And he goes, your ticket? And I go, hey. And he goes, oh, yeah, come on in. And I walk back in, and I go, hey, where is section 102? And he goes, 102, right over here to your left, and just go around the corner. I go down to 102, walk down to the 4th row.
Section 4?
Cut across to seat 5.
Seat 4.
And I sat down, and I stayed there.
You are a goddamn genius.
You're a
I stayed there for the first 3 quarters. And I was drinking beers.
And then somebody finally bought the seat?
An older guy showed up and said, you're in my seat. And I was like, hey, come on in. I was so hammered at that point. I was like, ah. And I happily watched the 4th quarter for 30 to 60 seconds at a time from section to section, just walking around, like watching the rest of the game. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with
that. That's a genius move, Jay.
There's a tip for you.
You remind me of John Travolta in Look Who's Talking. You know, he always played the game and won. You know what I'm talking about?
Save that soundbite. That is a soundbite.
You know what I'm talking about?
Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right?
That's at an hour 46 in, Jay. Roughly.
What was John Travolta, he was like, I'll take care of you. We're going to take care of you. And he's like, Queen, remember she had a dream and she was like, oh, we're going to live like kings. I'm going to treat you like And he does this kind of stuff.
You know what? Jay's reaction right now is reminding me of Ron Jeremy from the movie Bad Girls 2. You remember that? When the sheriff,
dude, so many things about Jay that remind you of Ron Jeremy.
But am I wrong? That analogy is fitting.
But that's not the thing I remember from that movie. Is that
of course it's not. It's not the dream sequence. It's that she was like, I'm gonna treat us. You can be a king. I'm gonna be a queen, and you did all that. That's like him.
You're out of your mind.
I don't know how any of this is going to help me get people into Rhythm City Casino.
All the stories.
This conversation is so off the rails.
Now, we all at least have 5 friends. You're set, man.
Yeah,
you're good.
So, how did you go from New York to Seattle?
I moved to Arizona first because my mom wanted my sister to have a better education. And there's a really renowned school for the deaf in Tucson. So we moved to Tucson first.
Great town, by the way.
And Tucson was fun. I got in a lot of trouble growing up in Tucson. But and then a friend of mine, I needed to get out. I wanted to be a comedian. I really thought that I had, I just had a desire to do stand-up. And Tucson was too small to be able to do that, and it's such a small town. Everybody knows each other, so it was
it's a small and big town.
Yeah,
is your family still there then?
Yeah, my mom and my sister. I see.
One of my best friends in life was stationed at Davis Monthan, I believe. He was a pilot there. So I'd gone down a couple times. You know, I had a blast, but it's the same thing. It's smallish.
I had a really bad experience at my first open mic where all these comedians made fun of me and were really, they didn't make jokes about me. They just said that I sucked.
It's weird. We had this guest on the radio that made fun of me the whole time. It was crazy.
Really? and they just...
Is he famous though?
More famous than I am.
And they just, they said that I didn't belong there. While they were on stage. Like,
and that was in Tucson?
That was in Tucson at Laughs Comedy Club in Tucson. And years later, I tried to do it again with some advice from a friend of mine at a local rock station there. And I started doing it. And then I moved to Seattle to really kind of chase it. And within a few months, a bunch of stuff started happening. I had a chip on my shoulder wanting to get revenge on anyone who reminded me of the bullies that I met at that comedy club. So I started attacking comedians that reminded me of those comedians. And it worked. Within 6 months, I got banned from every major comedy club in the Pacific Northwest, except for 2.
Yes.
And then George Carlin came out of the woodwork.
Oh, my favorite.
And became a mentor to me. And then a year or 2 later, Howard Stern came out of the woodwork and had me start doing stuff on his show. And then a few months go by, and I start working on the Stern Show. I start a couple years later writing for the Stern Show. So I moved back to New York, where I'm originally from. And I moved in with another comedian friend of mine, Mitch Hedberg, was my first roommate.
Wow.
And I moved in with Mitch, and I started writing for Howard. I started writing for Weekend Update at SNL. And then a few years after that, I started sitting next to Howard as a
Mitch
sidekick.
Hedberg, no.
What? This is not enough time. You
I know.
work for SNL, like
No, I'm not good with comedians, but is Mitch Hedberg? He passed away, right?
He did. He died almost. It'll be 16 years in April. I know it's 16 years because I've been sober for 16 years. It'll be 16 years in December.
I went through a stretch where I all I listened to on XM was comedy.
Raw Dog comedy.
Raw Dog. Yeah,
and
so his stuff was great, man. So that was your roommate for quite some time.
Yeah, the first half year that I was in New York, I lived with Mitch, and when I went into recovery, Mitch was the first of 7 friends of mine who died in the first year that I got clean.
Oh man!
And they were all comedians. 7 comedians died, 4 drug overdoses, and 3 drinking and driving car accidents. And each one of those deaths, sadly, made me realize I can't ever go back to that again. But yeah, Mitch was continued to be famous after he died. His music, his comedy was so prolific, and he was just he was actually one of the most well put together people I've ever met in my life. He was really selfless. He was really kind. He was really independent. Like he was a great cook. He just had one flaw, and that flaw killed him. Mm-hmm. And but the first day that I moved in with him, I remember having this moment where I was going to have the apartment all to myself all weekend, that first weekend, because Mitch was going to the Poconos to do some shows. And so he's trying to help me understand where everything's at. He's like, all right, this key is for this key is for this. There's a blue line train on this side of the building. There's a red line 2 blocks away. He's telling me all this information. And at one point he goes, oh, hey, Craig, this is a map of the New York City subway. And on the back of his front door was this giant map of the New York City subway, which the first time you look at it, it's really confusing. There's like red and blue and yellow lines going in every direction. And I'm looking at the map, and he goes, so that's how that works. And then he walked away, and I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like, I don't, but he kind of became that guy. He used to talk normally off stage, and then on stage he would be that character. But he kind of slowly blended into that guy the more he got into bad stuff. And
how is George Carlin is my all-time favorite in the world. I've read all his books. I've watched everything.
George Carlin was the most incredible.
He's intelligent, is he not?
He influenced me so much as a kid.
Yeah.
In how I communicated with my friends. But he influenced me a lot more as an adult about how to be a good human being. He was a very attentive to detail. Every time I brought people to meet him, he would always remember everybody's name. I'll tell you a story about George that not a funny story, but
he's my favorite.
George,
he's very woke too. He's very aware of everything going on in the world.
He was obsessed with the English language. He was obsessed with the art of stand-up comedy, but as a human being, the best example of who he was as a human being was when Brenda, his wife, passed away. His wife was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, and died 3 weeks later on Mother's Day. Oh, boy. I called him to...
He died like 7 months later, correct?
No, ended up... I don't know if he remarried, but he met a girl that he stayed with for a couple years, and then he got sick.
Okay.
And,
I thought it was sooner than that.
I feel bad. The last time I talked to him, I prank called him. As Al Pacino.
He loved it.
And we talked for a little bit, and he just kept going, yeah, yeah. And I was like,
I got something wrong with my I gotta take a poop, and
he goes, yeah. And I finally said, hey, it's Craig Gass. I'm sorry, man. And he goes, well, listen, I'm at the doctor's office. Can I call you back in a little bit? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And he goes, it's okay. And I felt bad. I was so intimidated by him that I would just sometimes get in a mood where I would feel like, okay, I can call him and not be intimidated. And that wasn't often. But anyway, so George, his wife passes away And I called him. We talked for a little bit, and he said, I really appreciate what you're saying, but I have to go. Let me call you tomorrow. So I called his opening act, Dennis, and said, is George okay? And Dennis said, yeah, I think so. I'll tell you this. We went when Brenda passed, when we got the news last night, we went to his house, and his daughter answered the door. And George came out. We talked to him for a little bit, and he kept saying, listen, I really appreciate you guys coming over, but I'm really tired. And, I've been up for a couple of days, and let me get some sleep, and I'll call you. And we said, okay, if you need anything, just call us. And he said, okay, I appreciate that. And he walked down the hall, and he said, my wife and I both saw this. George went walking down the hall and opened the door to his bedroom. And when he opened the door, we could both see inside his bedroom. Brenda liked to collect stuffed animals, and she had stuffed animals all over the house. And George had taken all of the stuffed animals from all over the house and had put them all in the bed and was sleeping with all the stuffed animals in the bed.
Aww.
And that was George.
I love him even more now.
Yeah. He was an incredible human being. There's nothing I'm saying that's helping me at all.
No, he's great.
Sad stories.
No, but I think
people are getting to know
understand.
you.
Yeah, like you don't want to do your bit here and then, you know what I'm saying? Your actor. You think no, it's more important that they get to know
who you are
and everything
your
else.
background. And then they're going to be like, hey, I want to hear more.
I mean,
you
guys,
don't want to hear your comedy, but
T-Ray hasn't even asked you about Metallica yet, and we've only got like 3 minutes.
That.
Yeah,
you got to come back.
Do a Lars. Do a Lars quick.
Can I tell you what?
Sure. Yeah.
Did I tell you what Lars said about my family?
No, go ahead.
Tell
the story. Tell the story.
Oh, we got time.
I go because my whole family's deaf.
We're going over today.
No,
Lars introduces me to his whole band and said, dude, this is the guy that does all the impressions. Do a couple impressions for the guys, huh? And I'm doing impressions for just 4 guys in Metallica and their security guy, and their singer looked at me and said, how'd you learn how to do those impressions? Do you work on it, or like how do you learn how to do that? And I said, I just no, I don't know if Lars told you about my family. And he goes, dude, his whole family's retarded. I go, they're not retarded, they're deaf. Not deaf. He goes, dude, they're all retarded, deaf, retarded, whatever. His whole family's retarded. I go, dude, you're getting my story wrong. Like, you're really screwing this whole thing up. Yeah. So with that, Rhythm City Casino, everybody. 6:30 and 8:30 tomorrow night.
I just choked.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It's like, no, my family is
so
not.
So Hetfield's asking you, how do you do it?
Yeah.
And Lars is like,
dude, there's actually a whole story behind how I got to open for Metallica. I might have to, if you have room, to come back tomorrow.
Yes.
Dude, I had stories in my head that I was like, I'm going to get to this, I'm going to get to this, I'm going to get to this.
You want.
And the whole thing just went off the rails
I'm
when I walked in.
tweeting Lars tonight, too.
Right. And I'm tweaking Lars. So.
And anything you want. No.
She wants to twerk for Lars.
Yeah.
She got
not
that
at
wrong.
all.
Yeah.
No thanks.
That's a good Lars, by the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Leah. Just want to remind you guys one more time that the big shows are tomorrow night, Rhythm City Casino. Don't believe anything you hear, except for the fact that there are 2 shows, Rhythm City Casino. There's government conspiracies out there. They say there's over 200 bones in the human body. I've counted. There's only 7. There's only 7 bones in the human body. Don't lie to me. Anyways, this is Leah signing off, twerking for Lars. Twerking for Lars.
Tomorrow, 6:30 and 8:30. Do not take Craig's advice and find a way to sneak into the event. Buy your tickets online.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
this is Bomber twerking for Lars.
No,
I didn't even get into my Tracy Morgan stories that I wanted to get into.
I know.
Hey, if you got time tomorrow, it's up to you.
We got time.
Leah, will you come back tomorrow?
If I can, yeah.
Just come back.
All right.
All right. Well, then maybe we'll get Craig back. Yeah, you're more than welcome. You let me know.
Drop
whatever
off
else,
the kids at Long John Silver's and come.
We appreciate.
Okay, I'm at least gonna drop him off somewhere good.
Long John Silver's. It's got
so
A&W
much
attached
appreciate
to
your
it.
time and your stories, and I appreciate you actually allowing us to ask you questions. Like you said, there's a lot of things you driving here you're thinking about, but really that's our show, and we're gonna ask you questions, and we're gonna go, and then Bomber's gonna bring up something from Look Who's Talking, and we're just gonna keep going. So, but it is our show, and it's what I'm used to.
What I'm here for.
He's John Travolta.
Yeah. So
Well, he got it. He understood the reference.
This reminds me of the guy who played the.
You know what? I don't even talk like that. I don't even know.
So Jake gets mad at us when we do our John Travolta question because he thinks John Travolta is a better actor than Tom Hanks.
Oh,
as we're closing
he did
out.
say that.
And so I'm doing John Travolta as Forrest Gump. Mama says stupid is as stupid does.
You guys.
I love
Ginny,
taking voices and doing.
I'm not a
stuff.
smart man, but I do know what love is.
Like doing any
It's
voice.
so bad.
Like Morgan Freeman's a great voice, but if
Yes.
you can do Morgan Freeman going, I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
That's it. That's good.
You other brothers can't deny when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
And that's going to be the show. Get tickets,
right.
Rhythm City tomorrow night, 6:30 and 8:30.
Andy Dufresne
amazing.
like big butts.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Wednesday.
That wasn't
Stay
Morgan
safe, Quad
Freeman.
Cities. Yeah.
That man's a.